personally wondering that myself.
I would like to ask, when we left the last session, uh, Mufu was taking Jin back to the inn so that he could change back into his normal form and get his clothes on. Did Raxley follow them back to the inn, or is he still hanging out with the rest of the people, having fun with the barbecue and whatnot?
Yeah, I assumed I went back to the inn with them after listening to Gorsyth and Sanathar.
So he did follow them back to the inn, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, well, then I'm gonna assume that Proto also did as well. Follow you guys back to the inn for whatever reason, just to make things easier, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, and you all head up to your rooms and I guess get yourselves situated
Congregate.
after a nice morning of fun and food and just take stock of the entire situation as it's been thus far. As you made your way up from the coast through the river and fought off Murlocs and a snake, now that that issue is terminated, you're feeling a bit better about your current situation since you've come to uh, Colheen after taking several situations, such as Jin getting captured and disposing of those uh, fiends as well, along with Wendigo that passed through the city at one point in time. And you are, at this point in time, considered heroes of the village as you have substantially uh, made yourselves noticeable and appreciated around town. I think Mufu steps out to allow you to have some time to yourself, Jin, as you reconcile from previous events that have happened. You've had several close calls with death at this point, and you are starting to understand why more and more as things progress. Proto is spending some time researching, doing notes, and tinkering a bit more now that he's got lots of downtime and much to uh, in his back pocket, so to speak, or really going through his inventory and messing with stuff at this point. And Mufu is reading through the tome full of all the lists of species and characters and creatures of a long forgotten world. Um, what are you doing right now, Raxley?
Probably, looking at the bones and trying to figure out what we're going to do about the potential building.
Mm-hmm. So, are you outside or are you retiring to your room after uh, getting stuffed?
Probably to my room.
All right. So, do you want to meditate or
Yeah,
commune with
maybe
Gorsythe or anything, or what would you like to do? All right.
commute with Forsyth.
Okay. I think you all have a pleasant conversation, or do you want to go ahead and act out that scene? Is there anything specific you wanted to talk to him about?
No, I think we planned most of what we were going to do last session.
Yeah. And actually, before the session, we technically did have that sort of conversation as well. So I think we can jump straight to that. Um, Jin, is there anything you would like to do as you stare at your palm laying on your bed?
I'd like to go through the rest of my things and see if anything is actually missing.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
19.
Yeah, it all seems there. Um, Again, it does look as though some of it was sort of pulled from rubble, so there's scratches and dings, and it's a bit dirty. It's been dusted off, but not necessarily cleaned up. But for the most part, it's all there. It's all usable.
Okay. Uh,
You seem that what was most of interest and use was you to be plain.
hmm. Uh, well, I don't have uh much to respond to here. I would mostly just sit here and just kind of contemplate it.
Okay. Um, I would like everyone to make perception checks.
7.
What did Draco get?
19.
Yeah. Um, you are very attentive and alert, and you do hear that. You do. What you sort of hear is the door opening downstairs, clomping as people enter, wearing something heavy, from what you can tell, um, and hushed voices and discussion below. But sort of angrily and prevalent. And you actually hear uh, one of those figures clomping up the steps. What would you like to do?
I will open the door and see what's going on.
You see a familiar figure, and it seems to be one of the town's militiamen wearing a simple leather tunic with a simple breastplate and a helm, and he is walking up the stairs, and he begins knocking on the doors and seeing who is up here.
Okay, I say, I turned on. Sorry, I'm still waking up. I'll turn and say, what can I do for you, sir?
He pauses in his rounds and turns to you and says, "Ah, Mister Mage, sir. I was actually looking for you. I was interested. Would you be willing to come downstairs and speak to our commanding officer? We've got something we want to talk to you. I'm not really sure. I don't get paid that much, or I don't get paid, but whatever."
Sure.
He nods and gestures for you to go down the steps. Do you want to bring any of your other friends with you, or is
I will knock on the door to see if there's anyone else.
all right? Jin, you hear a knocking on the door.
I'll open it.
Make a dexterity. No, I'm just kidding.
Always with it.
You see Raxley standing there.
What do you need?
The commander of the town militia has actually requested us.
Impressed with us?
It requested.
Ah, requested. What does he need now? Do we know?
Who knows?
Well, with how this day is going, I might as well see how this goes. I'll follow.
What are you talking about? It's a brand new day. We haven't done anything yet.
Goodness. Passes by like hours. I don't understand anymore.
Yeah, you all form up. Proto seems to be in the middle of reading, but he simply stands up, still staring intently at the book that he has, and follows you as in an autopilot. And when you knock on Mufu's room, you hear hurried, scuffling sounds, and when she appears, she is hiding something behind her back, but is willing to follow you.
Hmm.
You want to make a perception check?
I'll make a perception check to see what it is.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you advantage on it, because she's not hiding it very well.
What does
Same
she?
roll.
What?
I rolled the same roll, 11.
Yeah, you hear small yips, and you see a small white tail wagging behind her.
Jesus Christ.
And you can assume that she somehow got Floof up to her room.
I'm going to not say anything about it.
All right. Yep. You all follow the guard downstairs, and you can hear a sort of hushed but in raised tone conversation, and you recognize a figure at the base of the stairs as Merrick, the person who was helping you at the bell tower. He's wearing a green sort of cape cloak, other than the normal costume, and he does seem to have a bit of a more tailored helm, but otherwise has very much the same uniform as the rest of the militiamen. And you can see there are two other men there as well. Beside him, they have simple swords stuck in their sheath, and Merrick is discussing something with Tion. And as you make your way downstairs, you come onto this conversation as he says, "Are you seriously not paying them or making them pay anything? You're giving them free room and board, and you're not even getting anything out of it." Tion comes right back at him, and she's standing pretty determined, and you can tell that Tion and Merrick have known each other a while, and they're pretty much on the same level, and they talk to each other as colleagues, and she does not necessarily refer to him in the respect of a guardsman, and he does not necessarily respect her as the consort of this inn, as they sort of have this conversation. And she says simply, "They saved our lives. Even before that, you were giving them free." And then he stops himself as he sees you coming down the stairs, and his demeanor changes. He says, "Ah, yes, gentlemen, Sir Reaper, and I'm sorry I didn't learn any of your names, but you were quite a bit of help at the bell tower last night, so Commander wanted to speak with you." And
What does he need to say?
he has a proposition for you. How about you come on down to the station, and we'll have a nice little chat. That sounded a lot more suspicious and dangerous than I meant it to be. What? You can just come with us. We'll be fine.
It's fine. As long as I don't get knocked out and kidnapped again.
I'll try to make sure you're not.
The guards
you.
look at each other and just sort of don't say anything. And Gorsythe pushes back past your legs, Jin, as he moves to the front of the line, basically, and makes his way out the door. And you actually see the two other guards, like, step back, like, recoil in terror as they realize this crocodile is moving through the midst of everyone. And Merrick's like, is that with you?
Yes, my pet. Also my master.
Gorsythe pauses in the doorway, and he, like, you can see the glowing flame in the skull socket of his eyes blinks out for a second as he winks at you, and then you all make your way outside. And you all know where the station of this is it's near the far exit, the northern exit, or which is the opposite entrance of what you came in through from when you entered from Rochester. The mercenary outpost is at the far end next to the notice board. Do you want me to go ahead and send you the picture of the map again, or are you good?
No, you're good.
Okay, it's a simple structure. It's not necessarily a large wooden structure, but it definitely seems to be a bit more sturdy built. It's mostly stone, structured with wood, just sort of bricks and mortar, as opposed to most of the other buildings are just simple wooden structures. And as you make your way over to the door, the door actually opens to the outpost, and Merrick holds up an arm and to halt the company. And stepping out of the door is this large, burly woman with long, black, flowing hair that goes over one shoulder, and she seems to be wearing sort of simple armor with green plates. It seems a bit not necessarily futuristic, but of a different sort of style and make that you don't necessarily recognize, as well as the large weapon that seems to be strapped to her back. And she gives you all a stink eye as she steps out, but then holds the door politely for the rest of the party that seems to be exiting. Next seems to be a simple hooded figure wearing, it seems to be feminine, but wearing long, just very simple robes that don't have any sort of markings or anything on them. And they're very clean, but just sort of tans, browns, grays. What you can see from her face, even though the hood of the robe is draped over her face, is that she does have these sort of large horns that seem to be lifting up the hood of the cloak a bit, and also coming down from the bottom of the hood, draping across her chest. They seem to be white with blue stripes, and she actually lifts up her head a little bit, and you can see her orange face with white face paint on as she sort of smiles and nods to you as she moves on. Next to follow her out is a very sturdy looking man in full armor, very very shiny armor, and he seems to have a cape thrown to one side and some sort of backpack on that has almost thrusters maybe on the bottom, and this long lance with 2 points strapped over one shoulder. And he seems to be looking at a map and doesn't pay you any mind as he walks past you. And the last figure to follow is a very thin metal construct that is very robotic in the way that it walks, and its head just sort of spins in place. But the most weird feature about this creature is this small backpack strapped to its chest, and in it is a small goblin figure with big black eyes that looks up at you. And the figure says, "Excuse me, I am the babysitter." And they all sort of move away from you, and the woman that with the green armor that was holding the door rushes past you up to the rest of the group, and she's like, "Do you even know where we are?" And the woman in the cloak says, "The horse will guide us." And the woman in the green armor says, "Well, yeah, of course. If the horse is in the front of the car, they'll lead it." And the man in the silver armor raises up a finger to stop her. And he looks around, adjusts the map, and then points and says, "This is the way." And then they all leave town.
Oh my. You really did that, didn't you?
Anyways, you all enter.
All right. Don't fight that guy.
Oh, I'm proud. Okay.
Very proud. Very good parent.
You all step into the mercenary outpost, and it seems a bit more homely than you were probably expecting. There's a large wooden table in the off to what seems to be mostly the center of the room with a few benches around it, and it's got sort of paper scattered across it. There's actually wooden shelves in the back, and there's one lady that seems to be wearing a similar leather tunic, but not wearing the plate, uh, chest plate, or the helmet, and she's seems to be sorting and going through materials and looks up as you enter, but then returns to her duties. Um, there's several other militiamen meandering about. Some of them wearing the helmets, some of them polishing armors, sharpening swords and implements and whatnot, making sure things are in order and sort of keeping tidy and ready. Uh, but there's actually very few people in here for the size of the structure that this is. And as you make your way in, you can actually tell that there are sort of stations for people and they're quite understaffed. Um, and Merrick steps to the front, uh, stomps his boots very loud and annoyingly so, and the other militiamen sort of follow suit a little bit. And he commands, Merrick, Captain of the Guard, reporting for duty. And then you see a very old figure step away from the window that you didn't really notice before because he's wearing not a leather tunic but sort of simple cloth outfit, which was gray and sort of blended in with the sunlight that was filtering through as he stood in the shadows. Um, and he simply says, all right, calm down, Merrick. And as he steps forward to the rest of the group, you can see that he's a much older gentleman than the rest of the people here. He's got slicked back, not necessarily slicked back, but faded, almost graying hair that he sort of brushes back from his face as he wipes his hand across his face. He seems to be a bit stressed, but also very calm in his demeanor. He's got a very long and sturdy face, and you can see that there's the weather of time against his cheeks and around his eyes. But he stares long and hard at everyone and seems to have a calm sort of authority to him as he steps forward to all of you. He says, my name is Eoden. I brought you all here because I wanted to thank you all for everything that you did last night. I hope you all had a nice morning of refreshments and jovial time. And he sort of smiles at all of you.
Yes, indeed. One could say I've had such a nice morning. And I'll bow my head.
He nods.
Yeah, we've had a very nice night. Thank you for the festivities.
He steps back and gestures almost dismissively at the table. Come, have a seat. And he sits down on one of the simple benches rather than taking the more prominent seat at the head of the table, which you assume is meant for him. And he just sort of sits down nonchalant. And you can actually see Merrick twitch. And at this point, you've come to the realization that Merrick is very much a, not necessarily stick in the mud, but very much one for the rules and order. And Aiden is very much the more calmer leader of everything here.
I see.
So, I wanted to discuss some things with you, but first, I'd like to know everyone's names. My name is Eoden. I am the leader of this small band of... And he sort of plants an elbow on the table and leans his head against it as he puts a fist underneath of his nose and sort of rests his mouth against it, sort of trying not to suffer from the weight of the situation, but he doesn't say anything.
Well, my name via the stage is Mysterioso, and I'm going to use Mage Hand to kind of get into my backpack and pull out my pan flute and drop it into my hand. I like to perform on occasion, but you may call me Jin.
He nods. And what about you, Mr. Magician?
Magician is
I'm sorry. I'm not one for the arcane. I do know that there are forces beyond what I can understand and achieve, so I do not mean any sort of ill will by misinterpreting your abilities.
Thank you. I am Rex the Bone Picker.
Are you putting on a
I'm not
voice?
the weirdest single. I'm not trying to.
Oh. I am Rax the Bone Picker.
It's the angle of which I'm sitting right now.
You actually, you can see Gorsaif slinking underneath the table, and he makes his way to the head of the table and sits in the seat. And you can see like Merrick like almost start like break into a run, but then he like looks over to Aoden and then like stays standing at attention. Aoden doesn't seem to notice or mind. It's just a chair to him.
Yeah, I thought I'd point to Gorsaith and say, this is my companion and teacher, Gorsaith.
Aoden simply turns and nods. That's, well, it's good to have friends, especially on the road. And,
He's an oddball friend, I'm not going to lie.
Mufu introduces herself as she's holding Floof in her lap, and he's actually got both of his front paws up on the table and just panting excitedly. She's no longer trying to hide it. And Proto also waves, but continues reading his book. He doesn't sit down, he's just standing because he doesn't need to sit.
He doesn't need to sit. Yet he has a chair.
You know what? That's true. He does sit down in his own chair.
Chair.
But you don't remember it, so it's like he was standing the whole time.
Yes.
As far as you're concerned, there is no chair.
We don't know.
Nope. Anyways. Aoden takes his hands and laces his fingers together as he places them against the table. I'm gonna come right out and say this. We're in a bit of a situation. We lost quite a lot of men last night. And I wanted to give you all time to rest and enjoy the festivities, but I do need something from you if you are willing. I heard that you're looking for some work, so we're willing to pay. I mean, money is something that we're not in necessarily short supply, as we've got a direct trade route with one of the biggest trade stations in pretty much the entire world, but what we are short on is men. And
I mean, if you need men,
he raises a hand. He raises a hand and says, "I'm very much aware of what you accomplished last night, and although I would very much like to get my men back, I think I've got something a bit more satiable on the table." And he actually pulls he reaches across and grabs one of the pieces of paper and pulls it in front of him, and he studies it for a moment before looking up at all of you and pushing it across the table. And what it is it's a missing persons poster of what seems to be a middle-aged woman, maybe her 20s, 30s at most. And Aiden seems to be pushing his late 50s, maybe. By the way. You don't know anything about Merrick because he refuses to remove his helmet at all times. But seems to be a well-built man in his prime, maybe late prime if most. But it's hard to tell. And Aiden says, we had this friend that he raises a hand and sort of he's rubbing his eye and temple a little bit as he's telling the story, as if it's sort of painful and he's not trying to give away too much necessarily. He says, we had a bit of a misunderstanding, falling out, and she she's no longer with us, but we'd very much like to see her back if we could. We'd send some of our own men, but she doesn't necessarily like to talk to us, and again, we're also short-staffed at the moment. It would mean a lot to us if you could possibly procure her her whereabouts, if not perhaps convince her to come back. And again, I'm not asking you to kidnap or bring her back by force, but I think she'd very much stand to reason if you were to simply tell her that there are people that need her, and he swallows hard a little bit and sort of grabbing his chin a little bit. He doesn't have much in the way of facial hair, maybe a 5 o'clock shadow. He seems to be well shaved, well trimmed, very much keeping up with appearances simply for the sake of cleanliness. But he says, we've got more than half of our numbers gone. What little left is bedridden at best, and only a handful of us left are actually able to partake in our daily duties. So if you were able to tell her that again, he's going very slow as he's telling this, trying to make sure that he's not necessarily wording this carefully, but trying to be careful about what he's necessarily asking of you. Just tell her that there are people in need here, again, and we're sorry. And he looks up at all of you solemnly.
Pardon me if I am a questionable type, but I would like some questions answered before we take this. What is this woman's name?
Your name is Medivh.
Medivh. So, what was she to you?
Merrick is about to step forward and shout something, and Aiden just raises a finger dismissively and rubs his eyebrow. We were not necessarily old friends, but she was around when we first founded this village here, and she came to us and helped us, and I think we abused that a little bit too much, and I think she got fed up with our simple ways. But I mean, that's the folly of man as it is that we tend to become the thing that we dread.
Hmm. Do you know where she is?
He smiles a little bit. He smirks and says, "Yes, we know where she is. She's living with the gnolls over in the ruins."
The Knolls.
Yeah.
Why did it have to be Knowles?
It always has to be Knolls. Okay. So,
It seemed as though she thought that perhaps they would appreciate her more than we did. And she's probably right. But
so
I'm
you're asking us
hoping
to
that she'll
go.
come back to us.
Hmm.
Yes?
You're asking us to go into a bit of a dangerous territory. So please don't mind me asking, but do you know what it will be? What will be in it for us if we achieve your goal?
He stares at you. I need you to roll a persuasion check.
Ooh. 15.
He looks at you and then nods slightly as if liking what he sees, and he gestures over to the woman near the far end of the table, and she brings over what seems to be a full template of papers, and she places it down, and he sort of picks them up. He licks his finger and kind of going through a couple of them, and looks at all of them, makes sure they're in order, and then also passes it across. And he says, "If you are willing to keep track of how many you deal with, we'll be willing to pay you. As you know, our trader here is always in looking for furs and whatnot. We're not necessarily asking you to skin them yourselves and bring the pelts back, unless you're looking for a little extra coin. But if you're willing to maybe charter a bit of the area that you investigate and mark down how many you defeat, we'll be willing to pay you handsomely for decent adventure. I'll say for about each gnoll you kill, 5 copper.
5 copper for each Knoll.
If you happen to bring down some of the bigger ones, perhaps a bit more. If you bring back any sort of trophies and what have you, of course that will also be readily accessible. Again, whatever you find in there is up for you. I assume you are adventurers and able to handle yourselves and used to this sort of business, but we're willing to make it worth your while. I will tell you this, and I believe if you have visited our trader already, she would have told you this situation, but there is a bit of an overpopulation issue with the gnolls, and some of the smaller cells will form into their own packs and perhaps even rebel against the hierarchy. So sometimes you do need to trim them down a little bit to not only help their own hierarchy, but also prevent other raids happening as the lands that they need grow. So we're not asking you to go in as exterminators. We're asking you as diplomats to seek out and find someone of interest. But if you are interested and willing, we are willing to grease your palms with a little bit of payment upon your return.
I see. Do you mind if I talk with my associates upon these terms to see if we all are in agreement?
He
In
gestures
private.
his hand and then places both of his hands against the table as he slowly stands up and walks away from the table and actually grabs Merrick by the shoulder and leads him away. And you can hear that Merrick is very urgently hissing his own distaste with this situation to Aodin as they both walk away. But he's very calm and collected and sort of almost half ignoring him and half disregarding his small insults.
All right, so we're now all privately in the room speaking.
They're near the other side. It's not necessarily the whole structure isn't separated by walls and rooms. It's just sort of like one big room. But they've walked over towards what seems to be the sort of.
So it would basically be harder for them to hear us if we
Yes,
were
yes,
with,
yes. They're farther away. They're over where. It's almost sort of like a locker room setup where there's sort of stations for people to have their own sort of equipment set up and whatever.
All right.
They've walked away from the table and you are clear to discuss.
Okay. Stage whisper. Rexy, I don't have much of a problem helping these people. It seems like they do need the decent help, and we are clearly, well, at least you are clearly capable of helping them. To kill a couple gnolls wouldn't be much of an issue. I imagine that we were going to have to kill them anyway via the gnolls, but we probably don't want to kill too many via that fact, because the person we're trying to get back is living with them. So that's respectably, we shouldn't try to kill too many. But we do get prize for it. So, are we okay with 5 copper for each gnoll?
I mean, if we can bring back the pelts and make more money off of those, that'd be different. It's a matter of how much we're getting back.
I would say at least upgrade to 1 silver. I would be better with that. But then again,
So,
the mission itself isn't too bad. I'm just asking if it's okay for me to negotiate 1 silver, and if they say no, then it's fine. We'll take the mission.
I would.
Oh no! They kidnapped him. We're lost.
Do you know anything about gnolls?
I know a couple things about gnolls.
Such as?
But well, they're like hyena people, correct?
Yeah, they're like wolf people.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
Welcome
know
back.
what just happened. They dropped me.
Yeah,
It's alright.
don't know.
It's alright. Maybe inactivity? I don't know. But still, I'd like to negotiate at least 1 silver. If they say no, are we still alright with taking the mission? If we're clear.
I'd prefer to get the 1 silver. I
Alright.
have my plans for this town.
We'll discuss those plans on a later date. Because I would like to actually know what those plans are. But we'll negotiate for 1 silver. But let's not push them too hard, because I don't want them to just push us out. So I'll push pretty hard for that 1 silver, but if it doesn't work out, then we'll just take the 5 copper and we'll go. I'm hoping I can negotiate them to at least give me a sword, because I'm not going to fight gnolls with daggers. Alright. I'm going to signal them over that they can come back.
Actually, before you even do that, you see the same woman that was dealing with the papers, still sorting stuff onto the shelves, walk over and sort of reaches over your shoulder and says, "I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but and she points at the paper, which sort of where you can tally up what you've sort of taken care of. You can see that for most gnolls, the regular size, which is medium, is they're 5 copper. Some of the bigger ones are silver, and if you manage to take out one of the chieftains, one of the head gnolls, they're a gold each. And she says, "You can usually make it pretty easy by distinguishing which ones are which because of their size. The smaller ones are not usually well equipped, so we really don't negotiate on prices, but there'll be lots of them, so two for the
Hmm.
price of one, so to speak. Some of the bigger ones are well worth it, and you can tell their difference because they do have better weapons and whatnot. The the leaders you can definitely tell because they will be by far the biggest. They'll be large, and they'll have interesting hats. And as she says this,
Huh.
Proto looks up from his book for like the first time, and he says, "Hat."
Hmm. Looks like you've convinced one of my party members. Well done. Well, my dear lady, um, thank you for this
He
information.
revs up his chainsaw.
Oh, stop it.
Wait, what? What was it? What did I just not hear?
No,
Proto.
Proto revved up his chainsaw. He's ready to go kill some gnolls.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard.
Our, our
That
goal
was a
is
joke.
Give him
That was a joke.
and you'll be
That was a
happy.
joke.
Hmm.
uh,
As much we would like to help the economy of gnolls, our goal isn't necessarily to kill as many gnolls as we can. We are mostly looking to to convince this woman, and considering she is living with the gnolls, I wouldn't want our number of gnoll killing to affect that. So we'll try to leave it at a minimum number. But I do appreciate the information, and we'll take it to thought.
what did you call me? She said.
Uh, what did I call her? Did I say like young lady?
I thought you said something about we appreciate this, but you're still a thought.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I must
No,
have
I said
misheard you. I'm
we
sorry.
appreciate this, and I'll take it to thought.
Oh,
Pardon me.
she does breathe.
Hmm. She does breathe? Pardon me.
All right. So what are you doing?
All right. I'll signal them back over, and I'm going to. I'm going to see if I can get any leeway with just at least 7 copper.
7 copper.
Yeah. If it, instead of 5, 7, if I can get any leeway to that.
All right. So you
Convince-
wave him back over, and you're like, 7 copper and no deal. What are you doing?
I'm going to. Okay. So once I have the
So
tempo,
have you? What have you all decided?
understandably we under. Pardon. Nervous now. We understand the leeway of money, and it's not very viable to you. But our mission is entirely to kill all the gnolls. Our mission is to get your woman back here. So, if you may, I would like to up the price of 5 copper to 7.
He
If
takes a
possible.
large hand and places it against the table and leans over you. I need you to make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Same roll. 15.
He looks at you. At disadvantage?
Yeah, I rolled 9 twice, and I
Wow.
have +6 modifier.
Wow, okay. He stares at you intently and says, if you manage to not kill many gnolls and bring back Medivh unharmed and willingly, we'll make it worth your while.
I
And he
respect
steps
that.
back.
All right. With that convincing manner, I say we'll take it. I do need one other thing from you, though. As the others are.
You
a
can
very-
hear like Merrick. You can hear Merrick roll his eyes as he takes a deep sigh through his metal grill, and Aoden shoots him a glare, but otherwise doesn't.
I am a little bit under the whelms for armory. My friends here obviously have their magics and whatnot. I myself may have a couple magic tricks up my sleeve, but I am not well assured that I can defend myself against a very well militiaed army of gnolls, if so be. So, if you could spare a sword, it doesn't matter the sword, a short sword, a long sword. I prefer scimitars personally. Uh,
He glances about and sort of raises his palms. We're not exactly in the way of producing such fine implements. We do have simple weapons, short swords, long swords. If you would like one of those, you're welcome to it. We also have a blacksmith, which is out of business if you want to wander over there and find anything that's also up for grabs.
I see.
Take what you need, but if you try to sell it back to us, we'll know where you got it. And he
No.
smiles. And
No.
it's a different smile as he's actually made a joke, and he's got this sort of demeanor of not necessarily a grandpa, but a fun uncle. And yeah.
Uh, don't take me for such a fool. I get I'm a little bit persuasive, but I couldn't do that to you. That would be just thoughtless.
You
I
can
would
see
love-
that his eyes are smiling, and he says, yes, we don't need to worry about that. It's not like we've been in this situation before.
I'm very grateful for all your generosity, even with the pushy requests.
Mm.
We'll take your mission, and we'll see what we can do. There can be no promises that we can bring her back, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay. That's all I can ask.
All right, then.
And as you stand up from the table, he places a hand on your shoulder that's firm, but in the sort of way that an older man does to not necessarily a superior or a subordinate in the way of sort of military, but just sort of as an older man to a younger man. He says, this is why we welcome adventurers to our home. We find it's much easier to let people do what they want and what they need to, rather than trying to enforce strict rules. And he sort of gives Merrick a look over his shoulder, and then pats you on the shoulder and smiles and gestures you on your way. And this is sort of the same vibe that you've been getting from all over town, is that these people don't have any sort of laws or rules. They let you come in and be yourself and do what you want. And you've seen that around with the giant skeleton chopping wood. Everyone just seems to be, it's not necessarily like a perfect society. Everyone does what they can to help each other out and just sort of gets along, and they gesture that same kindness to new people that come in. But it seems like Merrick's not necessarily all for it. But he's sort of more military bent than everyone else, it seems.
I see. Can I insight check Merrick to see if he has like any bad intentions by using his position?
You can look at him and try and read his mind, but I don't know if that's going to do anything. Insight check is mostly to tell if someone is lying or if their actions of what they're doing is true. Right now, he's just standing there at attention, so there's not much you can read from that, even if you roll well. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that.
All right.
But what from what you can tell, it seems as though he's very much uptight. But that's just sort of what you've been reading. Not really much of anything else.
Well, I mean, to find out if he's like, I guess I'm mostly looking for like, is he on their side? I guess.
I mean, he
Like,
very
does
much
he?
looks up to Aoden and follows his every word.
Hmm. All right then. I'll leave it at that then.
I think Raxley could probably vouch for him in the way that he stood up against all odds in order to protect the town last night, but you were knocked out.
Pass.
Yep, I will agree with that.
All right
Seems
then.
like he's a stickler to go out of the way to do the right thing, but strictly lawful good sort of way, where doing the good thing for the good reason all the way, all the time, no matter what, no exceptions. You know,
Okay.
that's why I meant that he's not necessarily a stick in the mud, but that's just sort of the impression that you're getting. I'm not even going to have you roll an insight check, um, but he's not exactly given the sort of evil, like, man, if I were in charge, you know?
Hmm.
He's not sort of given that, like, I'll betray you vibe.
Understood. That's
At
what I
this
wanted to
point
know.
in time.
At this point in time.
Right.
Understood.
That's just sort of what the simple reading you're getting from him, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you that simply because I want to make sure that I'm portraying this scene well enough.
All right. It's not that he did anything really questionable. I was just concerned.
Right? No. And
Okay.
as you look around at the rest of the men, they seem to be fairly decently trained. That if you were to take them on in a 1v1, you would win. But if you were to take on Merrick or even Aoden, you're not sure if you would survive a minute.
Hmm.
And that's just sort of the ladder system that they've got here, is that what seems to be here is simple militia of everyone sort of helping out. They seem to be more probably simple people, possibly farmers refitted to armor. And Merrick and Aoden seem to be the last ones that are probably had any sort of official military training.
Do you know where I can get that short sword?
You want to go ahead and grab a short sword that's here?
I would like to, yes.
Yeah, sure. You can walk over to the section where they've got weapons and stuff hung up.
I shall grab
yep.
a short sword.
You grab a short sword and a simple scabbard. It's not the best quality, but it's decent. It's very simple. It'll do its job.
It's good enough for me.
Yep.
Go, boys. All right. So, I would assume they would give us the information of where to go.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, you've already made your way over towards where the knolls are before in a previous session, I believe.
Yeah. Then we got distracted with
oh, that's right. Jin didn't, but Rex they did. So.
Oh, okay. So I guess Rex would just lead the way there.
Yeah.
Let's head our way there then.
It's just
Now we got distracted
east
that
of
way.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually messed up the entrances. Rochester is north of here, so the north entrance is where you came in, and then the south entrance is where the outpost is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's head off then.
You exit the mercenary outpost, I assume.
Yeah.
You actually see that same group that you saw before, looking at the notice board, and they pick up one of the sheets that you can't read from here, and you hear him say, "Bounty, the quicker picker-upper," and then they walk out and leave.
Bounty.
That distasteful sigh. And actually, you can see that the directly across right next to the notice board is the blacksmith, which seems to have its roof caved in, a lot of stuff thrown about. There are sort of swords and implements. Some of it has sort of been scavenged out and like laid out in front of the building. The building's pretty much been destroyed. And there actually seems to be a sort of small setup of like training dummies over to the side, and those have also been burnt and destroyed, with like some targets at the far end. It seems to be like a very simple testing for weapons and whatnot. But those have sort of been burned and destroyed and whatnot. I wasn't sure if you wanted to still go over there and look for anything.
Sure, we might as well.
Yeah. You see directly in front of the now destroyed structure some weapons laid out, and you can probably easily find something that you're looking for. You want to find a falchion?
Sounds crazy cool.
Go ahead and roll investigation with advantage if you're looking in the pile here.
I don't know who's rolling.
I assume you are, since you're looking for it.
Oh, okay. I rolled a 16.
Yeah, that's enough. There's a simple falchion there that you can put on. Yeah. You find like three that are slightly different style, but you find one that's pretty similar to what you had before. You can see that stuff in the building is still smoldering a little bit. There's probably still some stuff in there, but for the most part, people have just sort of doused the fire and left it be for now. They've tried to scavenge what they could at this point. You're not sure if what's in there is still trash or not, but if you're interested in looking at anything else, you'll probably have to go in and dig around a little bit.
What would, I can't seem to find the falchion stats. Is there like is there an item that is a falchion, or?
It's 1d6 slashing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll pick up that falchion.
Yep, you can go ahead and add that. So you're dual wielding a short sword and a falchion. Can you dual wield? Yeah, you can.
I can, but like, is it a finesse weapon, or? Is
a
my
falchion?
question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I thought so. I just wasn't sure.
I can answer that. I played a character that uses them constantly.
Okay. I think I'll just yeah, I'll take the falchion and just have it on me.
Alrighty.
Mhm.
Sure thing. Easy enough.
Good enough.
Anything else you wanted to?
I would like to look for a longsword if that's available.
Sure. You want to look in the pile, or? I mean, there
I'll
were
look
ones at the mercenary outpost.
That's true. But let's look in the pile and see if we find anything special.
Sure. Go ahead and roll investigation with advantage.
Probably just gonna be it right there. Yeah, that's it. 11.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Long swords and short swords seem to be what's mostly made here. A lot of them aren't necessarily great quality. You find a few that are decent. One of them's got like a scabbard that's sort of been hit by probably burning embers that sort of melted the sword to the case. You probably don't take that one and grab the other one. And didn't seem like it was necessarily polished and sharpened, but it's still decent quality. So,
all right, I'll trade that longsword out for my short sword.
All right, you just pick up the longsword and put down the short sword.
Yeah, that's just basically what I'm doing.
Okay. So you've got a longsword and a falchion now.
All right, that's working. That's worth it.
Anything else you want to do?
I can't imagine there's armor laying around.
I mean, there is, but again, some of it is in pieces. None of it's necessarily put all together. If you want to
I guess
look,
I guess I'll look for some medium armor. I think that's the plan.
yep, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Good. Can you roll higher? That's better. It's not enough though. 14.
Yeah, you see some simple plate mail sort of here and there. You see like pieces of what you're looking for, but it's not necessarily like all there.
Hmm.
Um, they've just sort of pulled out pieces that are probably usable, more like patching material than any sort of anything complete. Um, but you're free to dig around inside if you want to look around or whatnot. You don't necessarily find anything that you can just throw on and wear.
Hmm. So like if I look around, is it gonna like take me a bit to like just to like actually get an armor set out of it, or like what am I just looking around just to see if I can get it?
I mean, you'll have to probably start digging around in the stuff. You'll have to get inside the building if you want to look around more, but you're pretty sure that the stuff in there probably isn't going to be any greater than what's already been pulled out, but you're not sure.
All right, then I'll just I'll leave be then.
Okay. Oh, Raxley, what did you do with that weird shield that you found in the rubble of the building?
I probably just left it back at the hotel.
Okay. Yeah, Jin. Actually, you may or may not know this, but when the building collapsed, they were starting to pull out bodies and equipment from over there as well. So that's
Oh,
also another spot to look for any sort of interesting stuff, equipment and
Hmm.
trinkets that people were probably buried with or were on the bodies of the men that died fighting and
I
whatnot.
suppose I'll I suppose I'll we if it's okay to go over there and take a look to see if I can find anything
Yeah,
useful on
okay. You guys set out in your mission, and Jin's like, "No, wait, hold on. Let me go dumpster diving real
it. Yeah,
quick."
dumpster diving it is.
Yep. You make
I
your
mean, I
way
want to
wait,
over.
fire.
can I test out the orb? Is it I can cast as many dimension doors as I want, or is it I have to use a spell slot? I was
Um,
confused on.
you do not know what the orb does at this point in time. However, you can cast the dimension door spell while you have the revenant soul. That has been added to your weapon abilities.
Ah, okay,
If you would like to take 10 minutes to commune with the soul, you can go ahead and learn that and add that to your spell list if you would like.
sure.
All right.
How
Go
many
ahead and
souls do I need
roll.
to
Yeah, go ahead and roll
go?
Arcana check just for the heck of it.
Okay, how many souls do I need to use to do the dimension door with my scythe?
Um, I would say probably two souls for each person for each living being that you're transporting. How about that? Something like that. Maybe three to cast it.
If it's three, the normal is it literally lasts for about 2 rounds and then it closes. So everyone needs to get through.
All right. How about let's say that it takes 5 souls to cast it then. Just make it straight up and it just lasts for 2 rounds or whatever.
Yeah, it's a third level spell. I wouldn't blame you.
Yep. I'll say that if you want it to stay around for another few rounds or so, you can use more souls to make it stay rather than having to recast it again.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. What'd you roll for Arcana?
Let's see. I have a +6. 17.
Yeah. You managed to learn this information pretty easily. The Revenant is not necessarily resistant to talking to you. It it's still sort of a little bit sentient, but again, it's sort of realized that there's not really much it can do, so it goes ahead and communes with you pretty easily. Um, so while Raxley's sitting down and talking to his scythe, you're looking through the pile of what the structure that was there is pretty much been crumbled to smithereens and then been torched by Gorsaif when he had a little fit the other day, or earlier this morning, and so you're pretty sure that what is still in there is probably no good anymore. But there's several piles outside, what seems to be bodies in one, equipment in the other. Some of the bodies still have stuff on them as well, though. So,
Let's look at the equipment.
and then there's
first.
just a
Break
large
my
pile
bones.
of bones that was there, but is now not there, and you can see that Gorsaif is a little bit bigger than he used to be.
I see.
Well,
Okay.
he's much bigger than we talked last time.
The boy speaks. We'll look through the equipment to see if I can find like that medium armor that I'm looking for.
Yeah, sure. Go roll investigation.
I'm also looking for just like any trinkets. Just keeping an eye out for like anything that looks interesting.
Well, I'll have you roll different for that. But
Ooh, 19.
yeah, you actually see that you start looking through like the equipment pile, and then you look over at the body pile, and you can see that there's just like a dead soldier in like that simple outfit with the leather and the simple chest plate and the helmet. But there's also some people that are wearing different things, and you decide to look over there, and you can pretty easily find. What are you looking for exactly?
I guess half plate armor.
Yeah, you can find some half plate.
Awesome. Radical.
As he's pulling it off the dead body, he's like, he's not going to be using it. And Raxy's like, are you sure?
I'm pretty certain. Now that's cash.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So what
And
else
with-
are you looking for?
I guess anything that the DM considers useful, you know? Like, it would just be like a gloss over just to see if there's anything else that I can take, because I'm not
Are you
looking
looking for weapons, trinkets, items, magic items? What are you looking for? Are you just sort of rummaging through these dead people's personal belongings?
I'm not gonna look to the dead people. It's just like equipment. If there's anything that just if there's anything that happens to be useful, then
I mean, there
I'll take
is the armor and equipment on the soldiers, so to speak. The rest of the sort of dead bodies seem to be just corpses that were unearthed. In the equipment pile, other than simple swords, shields, armor, and tools such as that, there's not really much. Maybe some few trinkets that probably had some personal belonging. Nothing of really significant interest. But I mean, that's just sort of glancing over it. With your passive perception, I'll give you that much information. But I mean, again, this is where that Revenant died, and there could have been some cool stuff. You don't know.
Oh, actually,
I do want to study that orb
Okay.
further, though.
Yeah.
wouldn't be-
Go ahead and study the orb. Roll Arcana.
Nat 20.
Yep,
Nice.
you know exactly what this thing is, and it's an object that lets you ritual cast the gate spell, not dimension door, the gate spell, with the use of you don't have to spend any sort of money as long as you sacrifice souls to it and whatnot. at which point I will get back to you on the certain number, but it sort of depends on how big of a gate you want to make, how many souls you're going to have to sacrifice to it.
Great, now I could use this as a trap.
Yep.
Woohoo, level 9 spell.
You actually hear Gorsaif sort of muse to himself. I'm impressed, my disciple. You managed to figure it out. Now just hold on to that thing for me, will you? I'm sure it'll come handily much later.
That's what my thought was too.
Ashton or Jin, you feel a chill up and down your spine.
Is there actually like breastplate armor instead of half plate armor?
Yes.
I know that's like a pretty rough request. Okay, I would
That's what
that
most
armor.
of the soldiers were wearing. It's
Okay.
just a simple chest plate.
Okay, I would prefer that armor over the half plate armor.
Yep.
Sorry, I actually started looking at armor and I was like, wait, hold on, what actually do I want? It's like I'm looking for armor, but I don't know what I want. All right, cool, awesome. Thank you, appreciate it. All right then. Beyond that, I guess I guess a good one would be like I don't know any like cool tools and equipment that I can take here.
I mean, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for something useful that might come in handy with the gnolls. But I don't think I could. I can't think of anything that would be very useful.
Potions, poisons.
I mean, it's a stretch, but like I guess if I can find ball bearings, that would be epic. But
no, you probably wouldn't find any ball bearings here. They're probably still lost in the stuff. This is sort of what you're looking at for their basic outfit. That's the helmet and the sort of.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess.
But I assume you're not taking their cloak. You're just taking
Yeah.
the metal piece.
Okay. Then I get what? Nah, they wouldn't have it. Would they have any like health potions or anything like that?
No.
Yeah. Go figure.
For the list of the groceries. To see what
Yeah. Then I guess I wouldn't look for anything else
All right. That's fine.
because I have all my things. So.
They have very simple weapons, armor, and equipment such as bucklers, small round wooden shields, maybe a broken bow. You know, nothing of anything. You're not gonna find like a thrift shopping sort of amazing deal here. And if there was anything, you're probably one of the last people to check. So probably people that got there before you, such as Raxley, probably got the good stuff.
I'm content with the weapons and armor that I found. So.
Yeah.
All right then. Shall we be off?
Sure.
Let's set sail to wherever the fuck we want to go.
I think Proto actually takes one of the helmets and puts it on, but it doesn't line up with his eye slots, so he takes it back off and puts it back in the pile. Helmet's not as fun as hat.
Helmet not as fun as hat.
Yep.
Or
So,
that.
Actually, I'm wondering if you would have noticed if Raxley had grabbed that magic shield or not. I'm trying to think.
I don't think I would have.
No, because you were asleep.
Or I was a cat.
No, you were asleep. I don't think you probably got up until after Raxley had sort of raided this situation, so you probably wouldn't know about the orb and the shield that he got. I don't think you're going to be using any shields anyways, since you're going to be dual wielding. Anyways, you guys head sort of southeast towards the ruins. And you make your way across rolling green hills, making your way around the farm that's outside, so you don't provoke the angst of the scarecrow guarding it. And
Yeah, let's not do that.
yeah, you make your way over towards the ruins. There doesn't seem to be any sort of entrance, so to speak. There's just sort of massive pillars and walls that are just crumbling and craggy. There's sort of growth on them, not necessarily just moss, but actual like vines and trees. Like, this area has very much been retaken by nature, as it just seems to be very old and destroyed, so to speak. And as you approach, you do notice that there are sort of small groups of gnolls just sort of wandering in and out, not really keeping an eye out. They seem to be sort of posted in areas, but not necessarily too aware or, intent on their job, so to speak, and not in anywhere particular.
Jeez.
But from what you can tell, they seem to be having very crude implements, spiked maces, wooden clubs, maybe a shield here or there,
Alright.
and not much in the way of armor at all.
Okay.
They don't seem to be much of a threat. We should just keep going.
Yes, we might as well.
Alright.
Keep the wits about you.
How do you want to approach this?
Are they in the way of where we need to go, or?
I mean, they're in, on, and around the ruins, which is where you know the person that you're looking for is in.
Do we see the person anywhere?
No. It's very much a dense conglomeration of walls and such. It's not necessarily a maze, but you can tell that there's crumbling. You could probably scale most of this, but again, it's just sort of towering. You can tell that this would be not necessarily like a large structure at one point, but there's probably several small structures here. It's the entirety of the ruins is significantly bigger than the entire village. It's just quite a vast expanse, but it seems to be fairly open on the inside. There's no like small corridors or anything like that. It would almost be like if you went into Rochester, but it had all sort of crumbled and went away, and it was just very more open, so to speak.
Okay.
Are we able to sneak around them by perchance?
I mean, probably could if you want to try and find an entrance where there aren't any gnolls at the moment.
I'd like to, yeah.
All right, make a perception check.
11.
What?
11.
You do see a section where there aren't any gnolls that you could probably go up onto without sort of making them notice, but you'd probably have to climb or something. It's not necessarily a direct line that would lead into the structure. It's just a sort of an area where you don't find any gnolls sort of at.
Would we be alright if we take that route?
You can sort of tell that where the gnolls are posted seem to be almost roads, so to speak, and this is just sort of not that maybe a destroyed house that you could probably walk through, that sort of thing.
Sure, we can take that route.
We'll
All right.
take that route.
I think at this point in time, I would like to take a small break to use the bathroom and refill my water. If anyone else would
Okay.
like to do that real quick.
I will also do that.
All right.
Yeet.
Like today.
It's currently clear at 57 degrees. Expect partly cloudy skies starting tonight. Temperatures are heading down from 61 degrees to 48 tonight.
Not too bad. It'll be above freezing.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Ashton's still gone.
I was gonna say, is the building not built yet?
Oh shoot, that's right. I knew I was forgetting something in that whole scene. Oh yeah, that's where I was gonna do the whole scene of like actually I guess I was hoping you would pipe up, but I completely forgot. Yeah, we can go back and sort of reconnoiter and addendum that scene, that if you want to go ahead and say, yes, there is something you can do to help make us pay for this, is that I would like all of those bones. And I think we can just go ahead and do that. I'm really sorry. I forgot to... Yep.
I mean, it's technically I'm offering a cleanup service, basically, because I can remove them
Yeah.
with no labor.
Yeah. Do you want to go back and do that scene real quick, or do you just want to go ahead and say that that happened?
Let's just say that happened.
All right, yeah, that's fine. You basically convince him, like, yep, I'll take those bones off your hands and make it real easy for you to have access to that meat, and you take those bones and send them over there, and you go ahead and build yourself a new structure. And I think at first Merrick is like, how dare you, that's holy ground, but then you manage to convince him that, well, actually it's unholy ground now because of the way it's been tainted, so I'll be using it to rebuild my own structure in a way and do stuff. So I think that's basically how I wanted it to sort of go about, but I'm real sorry. I forgot.
Oh, you're fine.
Yep. And I like the idea of having the the corpses reanimated and sort of help with the construction process. And I think you're like, ah, yes, this looks good, and I'll leave this to be building while I go kill some gnolls.
Get some more bones and bodies and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we never even talk about the black slime anymore. Where is that thing?
He's about. He's probably hiding in your shadow.
That's what I thought.
Yep. And yeah, I think Gorsyfe is big enough to be able to lift you up and fly you around at this point.
Oh God, he's bigger than a crocodile now.
Just a bit. Not as big as a gator necessarily, but you know, getting there. Yeah, I really wish we could find a cool visual for that. But I'll paint the picture with my words. Yeah. It's just really cool, but we'll have to, yeah.
Okay,
Welcome back.
I'm back.
So there is a new landmark in town.
Oh yeah. While you were searching through the piles of bodies and trinkets over at the old site of the bell tower, something of interest happens. The corpses that you were pulling armor off of reanimate and begin forming a line as they start hauling over several large bones and begin planting them in the ground. And slowly but surely you see what seems to be a structure beginning to form from the bones of the giant snake. And you can see that Raxi is quite pleased at his new palace forming.
Not a palace.
What's the word for it? Temple?
Temple.
Okay.
Yeah.
His
One on
mansion.
are you doing?
Nothing. I'm just planting ground for Gorsai's temple.
Gorsaif walks up. He's not doing anything. Of course, none of us would wave a finger over such menial tasks. That's why we get people like you to do the dirty work for us.
Religion is really annoying. Anywho, where are we? What are we doing here? We're going to.
Yep, you found a decent spot to make your way into the ruins. It's not necessarily a direct pathway, but you've starting to make your way into the ruins. Go ahead and roll a survival check. Whoever wants to take lead, you can do it individually, or you can go ahead and give advantage to someone if you want to assist.
Survival is a wisdom. Do you have higher wisdom than me, or I'm like at a 10 wisdom.
I'm pretty sure I have higher actually.
Do you
Okay.
want to give Rax the advantage then?
I'll give Rex the advantage on the
All
survival
right,
check.
technically you're not supposed to do that, but whatever. You're not supposed to say, "Hey, what are your stats?" But I'll let it
Well,
slide this time since there's only two of you.
Okay.
I think I just helped. Listen.
Uh-oh.
You might want to roll. I rolled a 1.
You get advantage though, because he's giving you advantage.
Oh. Okay, thank God. 19.
20. Even closer.
All right. Yeah, that's good enough. But because you did roll that nat 1, I'm gonna say just for flavor text, you do sort of make your way through the ruins. You don't really recognize any sort of structures like this before. Not just because of how old it is, but because it seems to be a different style from whatever you've experienced back in your homelands. And for a little bit, it's a little difficult to sort of get your bearings on what certain structures are and where everything is, but you manage to make your way through without sort of stumbling upon any sort of traps or pitfalls or any sort of natural things such as landslides and crumbling buildings and whatnot, and you manage to be able to navigate your way through this without much of a serious issue. Are you attempting to go through this stealthily, or are you just sort of seeing how things go for the time being?
I would say
Stealthily.
stealthily so we don't be seen.
Alright, I'm going to need each of you to roll stealth checks, and I'm going to roll stealth for the entire party, including the slimes.
Natural 20.
Alright.
I rolled another 16. 19.
Yep. Raxley is a creature of the shadows, so much that you actually see the shadow slime walking beside you as you are in the shadows. He's more corporeal, and you can make out his shape, and he seems to be actually showing you good places to hide from the sunlight. Yes, would you like to describe yours?
I want to as a changeling, like my coat becomes dark, and then my skin becomes even darker, and my hair goes from a white to a black.
So you're gonna literally become a silhouette.
Basically.
All right. Yeah, if you are sticking to the shadows, then that works. You're sure. As you're using your changeling form, you can sort of enact this natural camouflage, active camo as you're moving between light and dark areas. Since you became a nat 20, you're just like the Halo sort of camo where you're just like a silhouette. Yeah, exactly. Mufu is also pretty stealthy. She from time to time has to keep her animals pretty quiet, but she's also quite stealthy, as she is a ranger and used to this, and from time to time you actually lose sight of her because of how well she is hiding. Proto is just walking through and has no clue what you guys are doing. He's just like, oh, what are you guys doing? He's just walking through everything in broad daylight, not even attempting to hide. And the other slimes are, they're monsters, so they're probably going to be easily ignored, but at the same time aren't really doing much to hide themselves other than just sort of spreading out.
All right.
Yeah, and as you make your way through area to area, you do see that there are sort of groups of gnolls, but you make your way around them. And I think you actually, Gorsythe is jumping around from like pillar to pillar, sort of calling out things to you with his keen sight and making sure that you guys don't run into any ambushes or anything, and avoiding groups as they're milling about.
I would like someone to keep an eye out for that.
Mm-hmm. Gorsythe is the eyes in the sky.
Man in the chair.
I think at one point in time he's like, oh, there's nothing over there, and you almost walk into like a full den of them as a joke that he did. But you managed to catch yourselves. And actually, I think Jin walks through as like three of them walk right past you, but since you're invisible, basically, you're totally fine. And yeah, you're making your way through this area. I want each of you to actually, as you're looking around trying to find this missing person, you can choose to roll perception checks either individually or give one person advantage.
I say, because it's just you and me, Raxy, we'll do the advantage move.
Individually. I assume you're all staying as a group and not necessarily spreading out, right?
No, we'll be. We're mostly staying as a group. Yeah, a wide group. You know.
Okay,
Keep good eyes out.
that's fine.
But yeah, more than likely we're gonna be rolling the thing together.
Yeah. So me and Raxy will be searching together.
Okay. So each of you roll, or is one person getting an advantage?
I'm gonna give. I'm gonna give advantage to Raxley.
All right, I'm gonna have Gorsythe go ahead and look since he's up and about too.
I got a 17.
Nice.
Oh, I forgot I need to roll a second time. Sorry, I got a 22.
Yeah. You are starting to get a handle on what the structure of this is, and actually, along with, I think Gorsythe's help, he's able to inform you all that there is sort of a larger gathering where they seem to be having a bit more of a society built towards the center of the ruins in sort of larger areas where you assume that living takes place and is not just empty wanderings and camps and whatnot. Seems to be a slightly higher state of living, as most of these gnolls wandering about are just sort of bear pickings, getting what they can from the plant life here and just sort of making small camps here and there. So if that's that would probably be the place to look if you wanted to try and find someone possibly living amongst the gnolls. That would be where to look, is your best guess.
Let's do it. Let's look.
All right.
Let's go there.
Do you want to try and maintain going through the roads and broken buildings, or do you want to try and climb atop any sort of the structures? How are you sort of approaching this heavily gnoll-infested area?
I would say high ground would be the smartest.
All right.
So
Yeah.
we'll go along the mountain line.
You can actually tell as you're making your way there is that there's less crumbled areas. At least what seems to be is that they've sort of cleared out sort of the rubble and debris, and cleaned up some of the structures for living purposes. And you can actually see that they're like, some of them are clothed, even not just armor, but actually wearing outfits and collecting animals and breeding them and making food.
Do they speak a language?
From what you can tell, they're mostly just sort of grunting and yipping at each other in some sort of dog language that you don't understand.
All right then.
But yeah, so you go ahead and make your way on top of these structures, and you're basically having to jump from roof to roof a little bit. So I'm gonna have everyone roll athletics as you're making your way through here. I'm gonna say that your stealth checks are still
Acrobatics.
Did I say acrobatics or athletics?
You said athletics. That's a strength
athletics.
thing.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
acrobatics. You're right.
Acrobatics.
Yep.
Oof.
I rolled another nat 20.
I rolled a nat 1.
Yeah.
So 5.
So Raxley is a creature of the night and just absolutely just an anime main character. What's the term I'm looking for? Assassin's Creeding through this place. Actually, Proto is also surprisingly athletic through this endeavor because of his physique, and Mufu is also well equipped for this sort of rugged terrain. Jin is a bit more of a city boy and not used to this sort of adventuring, and I think at this point you actually slip and fall right into the middle of a house where there's a bunch of gnolls, and I need you to make a save throw so that you hold up your camouflage. I'm trying to think of what that would be. Probably
I mean, it would.
For
I wasn't holding a
concentration.
It
right.
wasn't
No,
really
but
holding a
you would be
camouflage.
concentrating to try and hold up. So maybe Constitution, probably,
I mean,
to see
when
how
I just
badly you fell on your face.
Oh, okay. Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, you fall on your face and you don't take any damage, but you can tell that you're not actively camouflaging yourself as best as you could, and I'm gonna need you to make another stealth check as these gnolls get up and start looking around.
I'm going to, as a changeling, change into a gnoll. I'm not going to. I'm not going to actively approach them. I'm just changing into a gnoll now, so that way if they find me.
All right, you can just do that.
Yeah. It takes an action technically.
Okay,
But I figured because I'm not in the act of combat, I can do that right
sure.
now.
Go ahead and roll your
Okay.
stealth check, by the way.
It is 20, not natural though.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I think with that, you're easily able to sort of blend in with the situation. They did hear something fall, and you can hear them sort of asking about and discussing things with each other. And actually, one of them starts coming over and talking to you, and you're assuming that they're asking if you've seen anything, but you do not understand their language.
I'm going to. Can I do this? Yes, I can. I'm going to point over in the direction where I fell and cast silent image. And I'm going to cast like a couple rocks that like kind of fell. That looks to be like where I fell, just right there, where I fell.
So the silent image is falling rocks.
It's not actively falling rocks. It's just rocks over where I fell at. So it looks like that's what fell.
Oh, so what you're saying is that you're trying to deceive that the falling sound of a body landing is actually just a couple rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a deception check.
All right. 13.
Yeah, the knoll brushes past you and begins sniffing around and actually like just like bends down to the ground on all fours and begins sniffing around and looking, and seems to have caught the scent of something that is no longer there because you are now a knoll, and seems to be easily confused but deceived by this. Do you want to take this time to escape?
Yeah, I'll take that action to escape.
Yep. You can go ahead and walk outside the structure. Everyone else is on the roofs above you, but you can walk out into the city street if you would so choose.
All right.
All right.
I guess I'll walk into the city street and try to keep a pace with them, because if I can see them on the hills, I'll just kind of keep that normal pace with them. And if they give me a signal, I'll try to push. Actually, I'm gonna. How far is Raxi from me?
I mean, not
He's not
that
that-
far.
Not that far.
No.
I'm gonna cast message.
All right. There you
I'm gonna
go.
I'm gonna cast message. I'm
Okay.
gonna say, I'm gonna remain amongst the knolls and keep walking around. It's gonna be dangerous, so try to find the target quickly so I can communicate with them.
Good.
You can reply to this message.
And I assume you like wave or give a wink or something.
Yeah.
You wiggle your
Yeah.
ears, and Mufu knows it's you.
You see my ripped out ear? No, you
No.
shouldn't be able to see that. I need to fix that. Oof.
Yep, I think you pulled off a decent deception there and managed to communicate back to your party, and they also begin moving around. Everyone go ahead and make perception checks again, or investigation if you're looking for the missing party. And as you're milling about in the streets, nobody seems to be paying you any mind. They seem to just sort of be talking, sometimes yelling and barking at each other, just sort of not necessarily in a pure savage nature, but again, just not really probably up for common discussion. Quiet
Yeah.
discussion.
So let's keep it to a minimum and let's just keep walking. I rolled a 19 for investigation to look around.
Yep. What did Raxley get?
And I rolled a 25. So I rolled another 19.
Yeah, you can actually see there is Medivh just in the middle of the street, talking to one of the gnolls, supposedly, and she's getting a bowl of something scooped and presented to her. It's about lunchtime at this point, but you're all still pretty full from your morning's doing. It's not quite midday, but the sun is up in the sky, and people are performing their daily duties, so to speak, from what you can tell.
Okay.
This is where we ask the question, how do we approach this?
Mhm.
Am I near? I'm near this. I can see
Yeah,
this, yeah.
you're definitely within earshot if they were talking, but again, I think at a few times you hear like a gnoll barking at you, and you sort of have to like raise your hands and walk away, as they're like either trying to say, "Hey, get off my lawn," or trying to offer you goods for sale, so to speak, or whatever. But
Okay. Keep it to the minimum.
yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess she's speaking with another gnoll right now.
She's sort of standing there and listening to the gnoll, but is not actively speaking gnoll to them.
Ah.
She seems to understand them, at least partly.
Hmm. Hmm.
And actually, when she does speak, she speaks in common to the Knoll, and the Knoll seems to understand, but does not speak common.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. It's a risk, but we can see how this goes. I'm going to approach her.
Okay. It's a good thing, too, because, excuse me, she has taken her bowl of stew or whatever and begins walking off towards what seems to be a large structure at the end of the walkway here, and seems to be almost deserted except for maybe a couple guards near it. And these definitely seem to be guards and not just Knoll people.
Hmm. Oh, these are like actual guards? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually like got good weapons, full armor,
Ooh.
or half plate. And she's sort of walking there, which seems to, from what you can sort of tell, possibly head honcho building, you know, sort of maybe leadership or some sort of big. I mean, it's a large structure, but from what you can tell is that there's not many average gnolls hanging around over there. It seems to be pretty deserted except for those 2 or 3 guards that are standing or milling about, and the full fledged guards, gnolls, are actually standing there in a sort of attention position, which is different from what you've seen from most gnolls, as they sort of hunch over and are very lazy with the way that they sort of stand and walk and are panting, and these ones are very much uptight, very trained.
Okay. Has she walked like into this and I can't reach her anymore, or can I?
No,
still,
she's
like,
making her way down the street towards there. If you don't act soon, you're probably going to run out of area to mingle with gnolls and rooftops to walk across
Okay. I'm
before
going
she gets to this big building.
I'm gonna message again and communicate to Rexy that I'm going to talk to her. I'm going to talk to her in the streets and reveal myself. If anything goes wrong, take action. But if I don't get caught, don't do anything. Keep yourselves hidden because I have a plan.
That is fine.
All right.
The Thunder Angel stand the on standby.
All right. Okay. So I'm
Thunder
gonna go up
Mage
there.
on standby. Yeah, are you using code names?
Thunder Mage. Yeah, sure. We're not gonna use my actual stage name. I know that.
Big Wolf over and out.
Big Wolf over and out.
I did take the upgraded version of Thunderwave, by the way.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna approach her,
Alright.
and kind of like tap her on the shoulder and be like, "Excuse me." I'm gonna give that my null voice. Yeah, fuck it.
She
Excuse
turns
me,
to
in
you
common.
slowly, and she is much prettier than she was on the drawing. She has long, flowing black hair, deep purple eyes,
Shit.
very.
Shit.
She is human, but very beautiful in her physique and her attention. And she turns to you with this very sort of calm and natured, almost nurturing gaze. Just not necessarily motherly, but very much got this sort of sense of peace about her that probably not most people would have in a den of wolves.
Ah.
I like to imagine that happens. He's like, "Excuse me, She turns to you and says, yes, can I help you?"
Yes.
As soon as you say that, her eyes widen and she steps back a little bit. "Most gnolls don't speak common.
Yes.
Who are you?"
Yes. Sorry. Okay. remind me, it's Odin, yeah, who sent me? Is that how I
Aodin.
pronounce the name? Aodin, thank you. Uh, I I am but a messenger, and I will, out of changeling, turn back into Jin. Ah,
So you
I'm
drop your disguise in the middle of the streets.
I just yes, exactly. That's what I do. I drop my
Okay.
disguise in the middle of the streets.
You see a lot of gnolls like recoil and like look
Mm,
shocked, but don't really make any action towards you
all right,
and are
that's
just
good.
sort of staring at you now as they continue about their business.
I was sent here.
She,
to-
Medivh actually steps back from you
yeah,
farther.
I was sent here to discuss something. I mean no harm, and I'll have my hands up as I say this. I mean absolutely no harm. I
She
just need.
clicks her fingers, and actually, one of the nearby gnolls comes over, and she's got two gnolls behind her with spears, and they sort of draw them a little bit.
I just wish to speak. That is all. If you do, if you could spare me with some time, I just need to deliver and relay a message, and I would like it to not be amongst a bunch of creatures.
Well, if you came here to talk, then you should talk. Although, making your way in here doesn't necessarily seem that you have the best intentions.
I can imagine not. But for the sake of it, I'm here.
Never a dull moment, she says, and she turns and walks off, and the gnolls sort of pull back her spears as she walks between them, and they sort of look at you and look at her, and I guess they're expecting you to follow her.
All right, I will follow.
And she continues walking towards the big building, and at this point you can sort of tell it's not exactly like one of those large Roman structures, but it's got like those pillars, and it's one of the big, I don't think Pantheon is the right word, but it's very much like a very large building. And as you make your way through, you can actually see that the ceiling is completely collapsed, and it's just it's very nice like stone work inside, mostly on the floor, and the walls are just sort of a little bit crumbling but still sort of there. And are you following her inside, or are you gonna send another message? What are you gonna do?
I'll send I'll send a message under my lip and tell them I'm hoping that this is just going to be a discussion, but if things go wrong, you know what to do.
As you're making your way up the
Stand
steps,
by.
she raises a hand, and the gnolls draw their spears on you from behind, and she looks over her shoulder and says, "So you're not here alone. You've got some friends with you."
Ah,
And you can see her fingers twirl a little bit with a hint of magic flickering across her fingernails. And she says, "It would be wise to not keep up any more deceptions if you want to make it out of here alive."
would you like me to message them to not engage or reveal themselves? If you do, if you wish.
The two guards that are sort of by the door in the full plate actually start to come up, and she turns around completely to you and she says, "I think whatever you want to say, I think you should say it here." And you are completely surrounded by gnolls in armor with weapons drawn at this point.
I see. Well, looks like I've gotten myself on a bad start. My name's Jin. I'm just a simple performer. Not necessarily street, but theater. I, myself, am looking for. I tend to assume I have a bit of persuasion to myself, but in dire situations, I try to crack a joke or two. You know how it is. So, what I'm really here for is for Aodin. It's Kolhi, yeah? That is the town he persists in?
Colheen,
Colheen?
yep.
Colheen. Okay, cool. Colheen has been under some extreme advances and attacks. I, for one, have
She
been part of
sighs
those.
and turns away as you're talking. Yes, yes, they always are. And she brushes past the gnolls again, and you're still surrounded by spear points, but she is now walking off. I need you to roll a persuasion check.
Damn it. $14.
Yeah, she's just sort of dismissing you at this point. She's just kind of tired of your words, and she's starting to walk off.
Good.
She stops and places a hand on one of the armored gnolls, and he looks to her and places his weapon down. She says, "Could you escort our friend outside and actually do a favor for me? Send a message to Eodin. Let him know that I have no intention of becoming his pet again."
Pet. Hold on. I feel like I'm missing something.
Oh, so he didn't tell you? And she
I have not been
turns
told.
and actually holds the bowl out, and one of the gnolls that's in full armor like just drops his spear and like fumbles to grab the bowl, and you can tell that he's sort of trained but probably still not the best in doing much, mostly just for show. And she steps back down a few steps again to you and says, "I have spent so many years helping people, saving lives, and bringing them back from the brink of death. And you know how I was repaid? All those people that I saved, those boys that nearly died for everything that they believed in, they were sent right back out just to die again. That doesn't really bode well with me, you see? So I think I'm done. At least here the gnolls appreciate what I can do for them, and at least don't hide anything from me and treat me like I'm theirs to be used. Here I'm appreciated. I think you of all people can understand something like that."
I do. I see. So they used you as a tool for war, instead of as a person.
Indeed. Of course it would be just like Eodin to leave out that bit of information.
I see. From what I can tell, though, he didn't seem to have any bad intention when he asked me to come get you.
He
did not
never
ask me-
does. He's always got his good intentions to back him up. He's doing it for the people. Always. But you know, sometimes the people doesn't need to wage war against everything. Why can't they just live in peace and let people do what they want?
Well,
A man like that could stand to learn a lesson like that.
from what I can tell from the place of Kolhi, they do actually do what they want. It seems that the town itself has been more lively and free, and him himself, as what I can tell, is very, very relaxed and open. He lets people do what he wishes, what they wish. But when he asked me to get you, he wasn't asking me to force you here, which is why I come to you clean as day right in front of you, without any bad intention here. Of course, I understand that my friends are hidden, and they are here, but they are concerned with my safety as much as your gnolls are concerned with yours. That is all they fear. So we have no intention of killing anyone here. But I do intend to bring you back, Kolheen, at your own willing dismay. Because I know Eodin would like to see you back, and I feel in my heart that he does want to apologize. And for you to come back, maybe he can make a right with you. Because it feels, as I spoke to him, he did something wrong and he wants to make amends.
Make a persuasion check.
Come on, baby. That was like my biggest move. Yes! 19.
She looks at you for a long moment and sort of stands on the stairs, thinking for a long while. So what would you have me do?
I would have you come to Colheen, speak with him. I know that your terms are more important than his. So all you have to do is speak with him, see what he wants. Give him a chance.
Why would they
If he
want me
fail-
back? From the way that I left things, it seems as though they were better off without me. What could they possibly want from me now?
Maybe they just want you. There's a good chance he just wants to see you.
That as soon as you say that, you hear her choke a little bit, and her eyes are ever so slightly starting to water a little bit, and she turns slowly and takes the bowl back from the one gnoll and brushes him aside. And I think the other gnolls also take the hint and withdraw their weapons as she begins walking up the steps.
He said other groceries are ready.
Is she
Okay.
walking away or
Yeah, she's walking away from you up the steps, but she turns and says, "Come, let's discuss."
I'll follow?
Okay.
I'm a motherfucking bard! Let's go! Fuck! That was so panicky. Okay. We're not done yet, though. We're not done yet. We gotta keep going.
I just imagine you actually screaming that out in game, and like all
Yeah, no.
all of the gnolls in armor just like instantly fall on their butts.
No. I accidentally used my own thunder wave. Yikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, dude. To come up. Oh my god. Okay. We're not done. Stay in the game. Alright. I'll follow.
You follow her into this almost sanctum. It doesn't seem to be like holy or whatever. It just seems to be like a very large building. But there's a very distinct lack of activity in here. There's like trees growing over the side up through the bricks and stone, and just like completely overtaken this area. But at the very end, on the far side of this building, there seems to be a large red bush, just sort of set up on the sort of the middle, on the other side. The only other points of interest are like several pillars that were probably the center structural points for the building that are still sort of in place, but have also sort of crumbled and shrunk in size over the years of the water taking. There's actually a small river sort of flowing through the center of this place.
Beautiful
And-
in here.
Yep. And as you sort of step inside, and she leads you down into the sunlight on the lower floor, she says, "So what does Eodin want from me?" And she begins sipping her soup again.
Well, I have to be completely honest with you, so you know everything. It does seem, in the dire needs of the recent attack, that he may need you to take up arms once more. But, understandably, that's something that you probably don't want to do. For the most part, he does seem earnest, and he does want... He seems to have more that he needs from you. And there could be a chance that he just wants to make remarks. If there's anything that comes wrong with this, my mission, gifted by him, was to take you back for you to at least see him. I would say that it would be the perfect chance for you to just go back and see if he does want more than just a tool, to see you as a person. It'd be a good idea to give him at least that chance. And if not, you can always come back to the Knolls. You don't have to stay. You just need to give him something. That is all I ask.
She thinks for a long moment, says, "Did something happen? He's sent people here before, and they've all been turned away or failed to make it inside, but he seems more desperate than before to send someone of your skills and talents and possibly the rest of your party in here. What happened?"
Hmm.
I
For
mean,
the most part,
I'm sure whatever it is, Abaddon could have taken care of it. He seems to have been protecting the city for a while. There was no need for war after a long time.
I don't really recall, for I was a victim of the chaos. I was kidnapped by some sort of
You
cultist,
do
maybe.
remember
I don't.
that at the table he told you that they're low on people. Most of
They're
them
low
are
on-
dead. Abaddon is severely injured. They need a healer.
Right. I'm trying to give her like the lowdown here, though. I don't
Okay.
remember much of the lowdown because I was knocked out.
Okay.
I was kidnapped by something and did affect me. My friends, they're so kind of them, were able to defeat and crush this almost, from what I hear, without ease, but at the loss of many. He's low on men. Everyone's been trying to reconsider, and Abaddon himself has been direly injured.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay. Come on. Okay, that's better. 19 again.
She has lost her demeanor and seems quite perturbed, if not concerned. And she says, "If only that was simple. There's things going on here that I think you don't understand." And you hear a voice boom from where you came in. It says, "Ah, it's good to see you again. Oh, who's this here have you brought?" And
No.
standing near the entrance that you just came in, you see a large fellow, tall, lanky, but with a pot belly and a large red coat. And he's got two sets of buckles on his jacket that he leaves open. He's wearing what seems to be almost surgical gloves on, and there is a pair of glasses across his face, dark rimmed and round, that you cannot see his eyes through, that's resting atop a large pointed nose with a big burly mustache pluming out from underneath in red hair, while the rest of his dome is completely bald. And he claps his hands together and says, "Ah, yes, it's good to see you." And we're going to need to take a break.
Oh, okay. Is that Strogan?
No.
No way. Okay, I was like, that's not Strogan.
Who is this man? Who is this man?
I have to go pick up something, so this break is semi-decent. I'm going to be going to my car real quick.
All right. How is intense? That was intense of a situation. Do-do-do-do. I try to calm.
All right, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Raxi Draco had to get something from his car, so he's using the brake to go get something from his car right now.
Okay. I think we can continue the scene then. If
Okay.
you're ready.
No, I literally have to go to the store.
Oh.
Oh,
It's
you're going to
just-
go to the
I-
store.
I'm
Okay.
taking you with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just like-
Yeah, I think you're able to probably get nearby that you can still visually see this and hear the conversation, but
Okay.
just for the sake of convenience, we'll just keep going.
Okay.
And as this large man with his pot belly and plume of a mustache, he rubs his mustache as he laughs jovially. It's good to see that they've got some things going on here. And as he claps and rubs his hands together as he steps down towards the both of you, there is a dark sort of wisp of wind that comes in from the side and plants right down in front of you, and it forms into this figure clad in black, with this sort of cloak that's just more of a long jacket. Think of Devil May Cry style, except that he's got boots on, steel-toed boots and spats, and he's got this luscious brown hair that parts down the center of his face with this strong jaw and sort of slight stubble across his face. And he says, yeah, I told you I brought them here.
No.
It was real simple enough. And Raxley would recognize this character and probably would have told you a description of Matt Murder, the person that had broken into the rooms a while ago when you were about to be taken.
Threw pool noodles at us.
And Medivh steps forward and says, "What are you doing here, Matt?" "Well, you see, I've been brought in for another job, if you catch my drift." And he gestures with a flick of his head up towards the man that's stepping down. And he says, "Yes, I am Mr. What's his name?"
Wait, hold on. Did Matt Murder help, kidnap me?
Well, he claims to have brought you here.
Okay.
Or he says that he got you here. He didn't necessarily bring you, but he's
But, the
made
kidnapping
plans so
when I
that
got,
you were brought here. He says,
Oh,
"Yep.
okay.
Yeah, doctor, this is the one that was implemented." And he smiles at you, and it's not a pleasant smile. And the portly figure walking down the steps behind you says, "Ho ho! So this will be the one." And as he steps down behind you, you can see that he's almost a head or more taller than all of you. He's quite a big figure.
Who are these people?
Oh, okay, what the hell is going on?
I have been introduced to Matt Murder and a couple of doctor scary people.
No, it's just the one doctor, Matt Murder, and Medivh with you. And the doctor takes an arm and waves it in front of his chest as he bows with over exuberance, and he says, "Hello, my name is Matt." What was it?
That murder?
"My
we
name
got
is
Matt Murder.
Dominic, but you can call me Dr. Mathman."
Math man. I see. Lovely to meet your acquaintance.
"Yes, Shadow, it's a good thing you brought him in." Matt Murder says, "Oh, doctor, I told you
now
not to call me
understand."
that."
Now I
Yes.
understand.
My plan is coming together. Once we grab the 7 Chaos Emeralds.
God damn it.
Chaos. What? Excuse me. Are you? Why are you here?
He begins talking about this great plan that he's got going on. He's not paying any attention to anyone. He's just walking around with his arms outstretched, yelling at the clouds, just sort of going on. And Medivh has like this hand against her face, just shaking it slowly. And Matt Murder just sort of looks at you and he's like, "Just give him some time. He'll get over it in just a minute." And just so
see.
you got any plans about getting out of here, he pulls his jacket away and he's got this thing strapped to his hip that's made of metal with this sort of pommel, but it's bent over at the side and seems to have this sort of barrel attached to it. And you don't understand its purpose necessarily, but it looks similar to the sort of firearms that you've experienced before, although it's a bit different in make.
Ah. I see that as a threat. Understood. I'll keep my place.
He grins even bigger and nods at you. This tiger jumps down and starts bouncing on its tail. Most wonderful thing about tigers. The tigers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. The bottoms are made out of springs. They're bouncy,
Okay,
bouncy,
too-
bouncy,
alright.
bouncy, boom!
Too many
And
crazy
then Matt
voices
Murder
ahead.
shoots it.
Alright, too many crazy people at once. Alright. Where are we? Wonderful. Now that I know that gun shoots, I will definitely hold my place.
Yeah, he takes the smoking tip of the Magnum and holds it up to his face and blows on it. It's not a Magnum. It's a Desert Eagle.
Yeah.
But he blows it, and then he gives it a little flick and swirl, and then throws it back into his holster.
If only Jin knew what the power of that gun was. The fear.
Yep. Actually, I
Alright.
think you're more afraid of it because you don't know what it does.
Yeah, that's true.
Suddenly, the wall opens up, and you're at a Safeway.
Okay, guys. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
It transferred over with no issue.
Oh, nice.
Nice. But then you see Dr. Robotnik turn, and he says, "But this isn't what I wanted. I wanted you to bring me the epic gamer girl." And Matt Merther just simply shrugs. And the doctor turns and glares at you, Jin, and steps closer and begins examining you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh.
Sorry. It's a little pipey game.
Ooh. That's not bad.
Why do you keep disconnecting?
Okay. Okay. 19?
You can feel that there's something looking at you, and it's not just physically looking at you, but it's like feeling you. You've got this sense when you've had those dreams and that thing has been with you, that it's not just looking at you, but it's looking in you and through you, and you're getting that sense right now as the doctor, as these dark glasses are looking all over you.
I wish not to get violent, but could you please stop that?
He's got some kick to him.
Medivh, who are these people? And
She just sighs and says, "Just a bunch of weirdos that... Look, why do you..." And Matt Murder, like, holds up a finger to his lips. Just like, "Shh. Now. things will be over real quick now as long as you give us the right amount of time. And at this point, you would have hoped that your friends would have jumped in and saved you, but I think you sort of know at this point that they're not coming to rescue you.
Okay. Listen, you guys, if you mean bad intention, I won't stop. I won't hesitate to fight my way out of this. So please, back off.
Matt Murder raises an
I
eyebrow.
can jump in any time.
Matt Murder raises an eyebrow, and he goes, and he's sort of like got a hand placed to his chest as he turns and laughs. And then I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. You gotta be joking me. 11.
Does a 23 hit your AC?
Yes, it does.
All right. I need you to take. Let's see. Okay, that's not that much. Just 11 points of piercing damage as he shoots you in the knee. You are prone.
As a reaction.
You fall to your knee as you are shot, and I need you to fall to your knee and be prone. But as an action, you can stand up, sacrificing half of your movement.
Nah, as a...
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Okay, good.
Hello?
Sorry, I was having issues.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, I was having issues. That's why I was asking.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Jin
I
is
think-
now in a hostage situation, and
If
Raxi's ready to play now, I think at this point I'd like to jump back to him as Gorsaif swoops
Oh.
down from below
Yeah.
and actually grabs Raxi by the shoulders and pulls him up into the air just as Proto and Mufu are surrounded by this dark energy and are pulled into something that he can't see as you're whisked away, and he's just about to fly you into that big hole that's in the roof, and he's hit again just like a bug flying into a window. There's another shield of energy blocking your entrance, and you both bounce and fly off it, and he drops you. And Gorfsai's like, no! And he's like so angry he's about to explode.
Oh.
This is the third time he's ran into one of these anti-magic barriers, and it's absolutely ticked him off. Actually, you know what? Because he's so pissed, let's see if he can recover an air. He does not. Okay.
I was gonna say, does he just go into a frantic rage and burn down the entire village of Knowles?
Yeah. No, he goes, you both land on the roof. It's still quite big, even though you bounced off of it, and you slide to a stop, and you manage to catch yourself from falling off the edge. But there's this magic barrier that seems to be preventing you from entering these, what you assumed were open areas of this structure. And Gorsaif manages to shake himself, but you know.
I don't have the spell magic, so I can't really use that. I might have to fly down to the ground then.
I mean, it's not like you've got Dimension Door or something.
True. I guess I'll use Dimension Door then, because I don't know your rules of these magic barriers.
It's more of just like a physical wall type thing, not like preventing magic from entering, sort of thing.
Okay.
So if you want to go ahead and do that, yeah.
I think.
Sure, I'll do that.
Sure.
I think as a reaction to getting shot in the knee,
Yes.
I think I will use a pact spell to perform a hellish rebuke.
As a bonus action, can I go, ow?
Because that's a reaction for taking damage.
That's my knee! That's my freaking knee!
Wait, where did you become a warlock?
Yeah. I am able. I'm a
Shush,
warlock.
you don't know this. Yeah, I think this sort of happens without you even necessarily trying. You haven't done a lot of, like, attuning to sort of figure out this ability, but I think it sort of happens as a reaction, like, involuntarily.
The pressure built up, so I think it's fair enough for me to
Hellish
assume I can
Rebuke?
cast that. Yeah, Hellish Rebuke. It's a dexterity saving throw. My AC is what is it? I forgot what it's called. It's
DC.
DC, thank you. DC is 14.
Yeah.
That's 5 plus. What's the DC?
It's 14.
No,
Dex.
he does not save.
It's a dex save.
Oh, it's a dex save?
It's a dex save.
Yeah.
No, he still doesn't.
Okay. What is it?
Oh, but he does get advantage on. Okay, yeah, that does save. Half as much on a successful one. Yeah, so
yes,
you get shot in the knee, and then your eyes glow with this dark energy, and Matmer just explodes into flames, and he jumps back and pats it off of himself.
He takes half damage for succeeding.
Yeah, 2d10 fire damage. Do you want to roll that, or do you want me to?
I rolled that. I got a 12.
All right, so he takes
Not
6
bad.
points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's sadly an area of effect. It's a 60-foot area of effect.
Okay, so it's all of you.
So everyone takes it. I don't think I take it.
I mean, you're in it.
You point your finger in the creature. The creature that damaged you is momentarily surrounded by hellish flames. Oh, okay, my bad. I thought it was area.
Yeah, it's a 60-foot range, not AOE.
Okay, my bad. I read that wrong.
Believe me, if that spell had an AOE, it would be one of the most useful spells for a warlock to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, whoa. Okay.
Okay,
That works.
I will say that something else does happen, because as this flame does spurt up, 2 other sort of dark figures sort of appear in the same way that he did behind him, and they sort of also have to step back from this fire that is suddenly there, and they recoil from this, and they both drop 2 figures, one that you recognize as your childhood friend. Yep.
Oh.
Alright, bye. And the other one is a metallic creature who you recognize as Proto.
Holy shit. I'm gonna fucking stand up and draw my short sword.
Alright, I need you to make another dexterity saving throw.
Fucking hell. Are we in the active combat now, I guess?
No.
Oh, okay. An 11 again.
No, that does not save. Does a 17 hit your AC?
Yes. Just
Okay. He is going to shoot one of the weapons out of your hand. He's going to go for the falchion, and because that did hit, you take no damage, but he does disarm you. And he's going to fan the hammer and do it again to your other hand. Let's see. Okay,
There's
that
no
one
other
misses.
there's no other weapon in my hand.
Oh,
I
you
only
just
pulled
had the
out-
falchion?
I only
Okay.
pulled out the falchion.
All right. Yeah, you see him getting ready to fan the hammer, but he's just fired the one shot. 2 now, I guess, technically, because he did fire that one into your knee. But you have dropped the falchion. And he says, kid, that ain't smart. And you see the 2 figures in black behind them are wearing similar black outfits, but one of them sort of has a weird sort of helm that's hard to describe, and the other one is wearing like an owl mask. And the doctor steps forward and says, "Gentlemen, please." I do not need this sort of rough housing in my workspace. And he actually steps forward and slaps Matt Murder across the face, who takes it, gives him a stink eye, and then slowly steps back, keeping his gun trained on you. As the doctor is standing in the midst of everyone, and he puts his hands behind his back, and you can see him wringing them slightly as he turns around to face you and Medivh, and he leans into you again, and he's like, do not make me regret this. And then he turns to Medivh and says, look, we've got a deal. Are you ready to... No. I understand perfectly well. And she looks at you and is trying to say something in a gaze, but you can't decipher it. And
Son of a bitch.
the doctor says, good. Now, bring me the girl. And
Son of a bitch.
the figure is going to reach down and pick up Mufu, who seems to be unconscious, although you can't see any sort of physical marks on her. But as soon as he reaches for her, you hear a loud booming sound, and everyone is rocked on their feet, even Matt Murder, and he takes his gun and he instantly holsters it and raises his hands. And then you hear another booming sound, and the doctor is like swinging his arms wildly, trying to stand. He's like, what is going on? And Medivh coolly says, I think you woke up His Highness. And as everyone turns, you turn to see that large red bush that was at the far end starting to move, and you see a large limb reach out, and it curls into a fist and slams the ground as it begins to take shape into this wolf figure that stands up, and it snarls at all of you. And it's this absolutely giant gnoll with red fur that's been matted down over the years, probably caked in blood, but also probably just because that's the color of its fur. And as it sits up on its haunches, it brings its legs together to sit cross applesauce, and it takes one of the pillars and slams it down, crumbling it instantly, and it growls loudly before yelling across the room in this enormous bark that shakes the roof, and you can actually see the magic barrier sort of fizzle and start to lose itself before settling back down into place. And then it reaches over and picks up this giant metal shield with the spike in top, and it daintily places it on top of its head as it glares down at all of you and says, what is going on here? And you see the doctor like putting up his hand, and he's like, well, you see what we were doing it. We were just talking about it. And Medivh says, uh-huh. And she smiles at him before stepping away from all of you. And she begins walking over towards the King Null. And she gives you a look over her shoulder to like walk with me sort of thing. And you can see the doctor like ball up his fist and throw them down to his side like, come on, you can't just be sucking up to that guy again or whatever. And you can tell that Medivh's like trying to diffuse the situation, but it seems that even though there's a lot of deadly people in this area, they all seem to be fearing this large creature, as this is his territory that they are in.
Am I able, like, where is Mufu right now? Is she like on the ground still?
Yep, she's on the ground.
Can I
all the
to
figures
her?
have stepped away from her. between you and Mufu is Matt Murder and the Doctor, but Medivh has begun walking away from the entire group towards the Knoll Chieftain and has given you a look like just roll with it and wants you to walk with her.
I'm going to.
She actually stops and hisses, "Come on!"
Sorry. Okay, I'll go.
All right, yeah. You walk over to the other side, and she places her hands out and curtsies to the king, and then gestures with her head like follow along.
I'll look back to Mufu, but I'll follow on.
Come on, bow.
Oh, bow. All right, I'll do my little performer's bow.
You hear this large guttural growl from the center of this beast, and it just leans all the way over the both of you.
Call back.
And he begins sniffing.
Call him. It won't let me check in.
Down, dude.
Feel that? Is sniffy me?
Yep, it's sniffing you.
I'll hold still for it to do what it must.
Okay. It goes. And then yep, it sits back up. And then it takes its large tail and it slams it against the ground, and you can see like all the rubble just sort of shake as it does so. It says, "Why have you all gathered here before me?"
I am only here to speak with Medivh. That is all. I mean no harm.
He wants me to go back to the small town. And he takes a fist and slams it against the ground, and the stone cracks and shatters. To Outland, the person who would have us slaughtered. And Medivh chimes up and says, "You know that's not true." And the chieftain said, "I don't like that man."
This is not good.
"What are these invaders doing here?" And you can see Medivh look over his shoulder, and she smiles a little bit as the rest of the group, Matt Murder and the Doctor, sort of look nervous, and you can see Matt like slowly shake his head, and she grins even more, and she says, "I have no idea what they're doing here." And you can see him like raise a hand and place it to his face. And you hear the Knoll Chieftain yell, "Gods!" And instantly, just out of everywhere, gnolls are instantly piling in from every nook and cranny of this entire place, and they're instantly surrounded by like clubs and spears and swords and everything. And it seems like they're all just like battle ready. They seem to be pushovers, but there is way too many of them for it to be even a question of what to do. And the Doctor's like, "Wait, hold on. And they're like not even listening. They're instantly poking and prodding all of them with weapons, except for Mufu and Proto, who are on the ground. Actually, like one of them like bends down and sniffs them and is like poking them a little bit, but they're mostly drawing their weapons upon everyone else.
Okay.
And I think taking this sort of measure, I think the three black figures instantly disperse into smoke and zip up and away out through the back door. and leaving Doctor there by himself. And he says, "Wait, hold on. No, hold on. This isn't what it was. This isn't what it looks like. Okay, just listen to me." And the Knoll chieftain slams his tail into the ground again, and all the Knolls instantly turn and look towards him. And he says, "Take him to the pit." And all the Knolls instantly begin yipping and yelling and hooting and hollering, and he's instantly ushered up and away, and like they begin picking him up, like sheathing their weapons a little bit and just instantly dragging him and lifting him up and carrying him away. He's like, no, wait, this isn't what it was supposed to be. I was supposed to piss on the moon.
God dang it.
What the hell am I
Nothing. Knoll King, big problem.
He slams his tail into the ground again. "What makes you think you can address me?"
Oh, did I? Oh, I was. I wasn't. Gosh dang it! I need to clarify when I am and am not in character. God damn it.
He leans forward again, and then says in a much calmer tone, "And you should know, there are no kings."
Understood. You must live a life that I wish to live.
What do you want? "A small excursion," Medivh says. "There seem to be some wounded and request my assistance." "So, Aoden wants his army rebuilt." "I was under the impression that Abaddon is also injured." And upon hearing this, the Knoll chieftain, like, "Tell Abaddon I hope he gets well soon." And he's looking directly at you, Jin, when he says that.
As you
And
will.
he takes an enormous fist and pounds it against his chest.
Okay. I'll bow once more and say, "As you will."
He just stares down at you, and then after a few moments, Medivh takes the hint and bows again, and then you both begin walking out.
Okay. What do I do about Proto and Mufu? Are they just gonna lie on the ground? Like, what do I do about that?
There's still like, actually, all of the Knolls are gone, even the ones that were supposed to be guarding. And Medivh is like, "Oh, are these two with you?"
They are. Yes. How is Mufu? Is she like? She's not injured? Anything? She's all right.
No, they're both passed out and unconscious, but you can't see any sort of markings on them, at least not at this point in time, unless you
Okay.
wanted to stop and make a medicine check.
I would like to stop and make a medicine check. Yeah. don't
Medivh actually like picks up Mufu, is like, "We should really get out of here before we do this," and she lifts her up by her shoulders and begins dragging her slowly up the stairs and out of here, leaving you to take care of Proto. And actually, I think at this point Raxley does teleport in using Gate spell
Okay.
and helps you out.
We got things happening, dude.
Yep. So
Alright,
you're
let's-
standing on the steps just outside of this large chamber, which is
I'm
the...
not using gate.
Or not gate, dimension door, whatever.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna throw some people in a goddamn
Hush,
astral void
hush.
and keep forgetting that.
I misspoke.
We're operating.
Yeah. I'm sure Raxley wanted to do something cool in the midst of all of that, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, you help them up and out of the Knoll Chieftain's chambers, and you're now standing on the steps. And she gets down and she begins looking over the bodies, and she says, she seems to be, well, I'm not really sure how they did this. And she begins looking over Proto, but seems to have less luck in figuring out anything about his sort of situation.
Well, she is a half elf, so it couldn't have been magic to put her into this trance. It could have been an intoxication. I don't know how they would do that to Proto as well, though.
Yeah, she glances over Proto and she says, damn it, Jin, I'm a doctor, not a mechanic.
I have no words. I did not ask. I'm sorry.
And I
At least
think
they're
after like shaking them both awake, they come to, and you have your group back together. And she says, "Oh, so shall we get out of here?"
Yes. Let's make amends and move.
Okay. And you can actually see that pretty much the entire street is empty. People have just the gnolls have left like their boils of, or their pots of soup to boil over, and their whatever stuff that they were working on, they just dropped and left. As this horde of people, you can still see sort of at the very end, is like hauling off this one guy to go to the pit, whatever that is.
Medivh, what is the pit?
She turns to you and says, you don't want to know, but it's not pleasant.
Can only imagine.
I
Gladiators.
can only imagine.
Gladiators is not my type of performance.
So, what now?
I suppose that's up to you. Would you wish to return to Kolhi with us and speak to Eodin once more? Or would you rather stay here and watch the display, I suppose?
If it's alright with you, I'd like to ask someone first.
Alright. I have no issue. It's your choice.
She steps down the steps into the main street and kneels down and begins praying for a moment. And then you hear a simple click against the stone as you hear footsteps approaching. And over your shoulder you hear the sound of wind drifting through simple cloth, which reminds you oddly of home, as though like laundry blowing in the wind, or curtains perhaps. And over your shoulder you feel a presence that reminds you of something that you really can't recognize, but the scent of it blowing through smells like fresh breeze. You can't tell if it's of the sea or of a field, but it's very heartwarming and calming. And you hear a voice of a man that says, now, what do you think she's thinking about? And this figure steps past you, and you're sort of taken aback slightly as this very tall figure in this large green cloak that seems to be padded at the waist, as though he's got some sort of baggage or padding or pockets around his waist, and there's a gentle click as his staff steps down the steps, and he walks down towards Medivh, and she stands up and turns to him, and she says, the traveler, I have something to ask of you.
Oh.
And he says, yes, of course, what is it, my child? And she says, there seems to be a crossroads in front of me, and I'm not sure which way to turn or where to go, or even if I can go back down this path, and I just don't know anymore. And she brings her arms up to hug herself, and at this point you can see that she's quite well endowed, and it's sort of hard to focus on this sort of very touching moment as your hormones go wild again. But you see a hand reach out from the cloak, and it's large but very worn and weathered, sort of an aged hand, and he gently places it against her cheek and says, "You know which way to turn." And with that, the hand withdraws within the cloak, and he turns, and you can't really make out what's underneath the cloak because it's sort of up around him, and there's darkness within the folds of whatever is beneath. But you can see that he is holding a staff against his chest, and you can see that same similar hand holding it, and you can see this sort of chin ever so slightly underneath the cloak, and it's firm and soft at the same time. Not really a beard growing, but again, sort of a soft chiseled and almost scraggly scruffiness sort of going loose and wild across his chin. Not shaved, but also not really grown out at the same time. And you can tell that he's looking up at you, and he gives you a soft smile. And I think at this point you all walk down to Medivh as she says, "I'm ready to go home."
Then let's make our journey.
Okay, what the hell just happened?
She just talked to the traveler, and I'm like, oh boy.
You're actually really
Okay,
loud
I'm
now.
still very confused. So we went from
Yeah.
a bunch of guys with guns to some king to an arena to this? What?
The
The order of events was, I talked to Medivh. I seemed to get a good convincing on. Dr. Eggman and Matt Mercer came in, and I've taken the assumption that it probably has to do something with the whole like I got kidnapped situation. So they try to do it. They're trying to do something to me again. That ruckus wakes up the quote unquote, not king in his words, but like it seems to be king of the Knolls, and
he's a
he gets
chieftain.
pissed. He's a chief, yeah.
Chieftain.
Chieftain, thank you. The chieftain of the Knolls. He tells them, he's like, what the fuck's going on? And then Medivh is like, these guys are, I don't know, they're just here. And then he's like, all right, well, let's send them to the pit. And they send them to the pit. And then Medivh helps me, and you help me get Proto and Mufu back on their feet. And then we talk to Medivh, and she's like, all right, hold on. And she talks to the traveler, and it seems like she's coming with us. So, end of the day, mission accomplished.
Credits
Right,
roll.
who feels like a vacation in the astral plane because someone seems to want me to do one?
I don't believe we should take a vacation to the astral plane. That's a very scary place.
Yeah, I'm sure
You
it'll be
wouldn't
fun.
come back from that vacation because you'd be dead, because at this point he's wanting me to use the gate spell so badly.
I keep misspeaking. I'm sorry.
All right then.
Dimension door.
Anyway, I shall speak and ask. Was that real, or was that
Funny Man real?
yeah, basically.
Who are you speaking to?
I'm speaking to Medivh because she is the one who was communicating with him.
What do you mean? What is what real?
Ah.
I mean, all
Well,
that you just experienced back there was real. I know it may seem otherworldly to suddenly experience all those things, but I assure you that those people are real and have very real intentions, although I don't know what they have to do with you and the rest of your party.
It's solely in my past, really. My father was a great believer in the Traveler, and Well,
Oh, would you like to speak to him? The traveler's standing right next to you.
uh, oh, right, he's still here. Um, do you, um, do you know if my mother is she okay?
He takes a hand and strokes his chin for a minute and says, "Wait, what was the question?"
Is my mother okay?
Your mother? As in
Yes.
your
As in
adopted
yes.
mother or your actual mother?
My adopted mother.
She died.
Yes, that's why I'm asking. Like,
Is she
because
okay?
I and like, is she? I don't know where she's gone. Like, where is she?
Well, I mean, she died, so.
She died, but is there like a second? Is there a life after death, or like I'm asking if she's all right after death, basically.
I think he strokes his chin and turns his head slowly towards Raxley and says, "I think that one can answer that question for you."
What is the question he's asking? Sorry, my phone's been.
How is his dead mother doing? No
What do you
offense.
mean?
Jin wants to know how his dead mother is doing.
I'm sorry
How would
that
I
I
know
don't know if
this?
there's a. I'm sorry I don't know if there's a heaven. Like I assume she went.
There's an astral plane.
There's an astral plane, correct?
The astral plane is not everyone's heaven. Every heaven is different, depending on your god. The astral plane is just a very big plane of destruction.
Well, that's what I'm asking the traveler. I figured he'd figure that shit out. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't really understand the question. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to
I
calmly
think he.
ask.
How about this? He says,
I'll ask the question. Has my mother, like, gone on to a better place, and is she all right there? I guess that would be the question.
"When she wasn't looking after you, yes." No, I'm just kidding.
That's just mean. That's just really mean.
No, the traveler says, her road was difficult and long, but just like you, I believe she has made it to a place where she can now find herself once again. I'll have you know that while I am the god of travels and destinations and journeys and adventure, there are many paths in which you can go down. And while I can show you all of them, I may not know where they all lead. That is for you to decide. But I believe you already know the answer to your own question. And he takes a finger and points towards where your earring is.
Ah. I guess I'll pull my earring out of my bag, then, because it's not on me, sadly.
Oh, it's not? You didn't put in the other
well,
ear?
Well, I guess I could. I didn't think about that, did I? Okay. I guess I'll.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
assume-
I thought
we'll
you
go with
did that. All right.
Okay. I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't wear it on the. I guess I could wear it on my right ear, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought we decided that in the last session that that's what you did. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll say it was on my right ear then.
Yep.
If that's what. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Or actually, how about this? I like this better.
Okay.
He actually
Okay.
points up to your ear where your earring was, and you reach up and touch it, and it's in there again, and your ear is healed.
Thank you.
I didn't do anything.
Have you seen her dance before? She's wonderful.
I've seen the way you dance, and it's much the same.
Thank you. I appreciate your kind words. I'm gonna... I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna
I'm gonna manly cry.
I'm gonna
I think
stand there.
Mufu comes up and gives you a hug.
No, don't do that. don't do that. Why would you do this to me?
And then Proto says, "Oh, is this what we're doing?" And he comes over and
we're
gives
all-
you a hug too.
Or a hug. Okay, thank God. Okay. Proto, save your.
And then Gorsife comes over. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah!
I was gonna say, if we're gonna make this awkward,
All right. Thank you. I guess we should be on our way. And I shall take the first initial steps to back to Colheen. That's what I shall do.
Actually, if you're all right, I'd like to do one more thing.
Okay, no problem.
I think the traveler steps towards Mufu and you and says, "That book, do you mind if I..." And Mufu offers up the book, telling you about all the creatures of fantasy, and he opens it up and flips through it, and you can see a sort of old magic appearing where he touches, and you can almost see those creatures appearing in visions as they pour out of the pages as he flips through them. And you can see his cape sort of start to lift up again as he's going through all these descriptions and looking at all of them. Hold on, I've got a picture. And he's just sort of looking at all of them. And he says, "It's been a long time since I've..." And then he closes the book and he says, "Allow me to help you on your journey." And he lifts up his cloak, and inside of it you can see everything and nothing at the same time as you start to see the world start to fade around you and morph and shift, and you're not necessarily pulled into the folds of this cloth as it begins to fold up and away and wrap around the entire universe and move around you as you can feel yourself moving but still standing there perfectly still. And then, as though a piece of cloth is pulled back across your face, you are now standing in front of Colheen again.
Huh.
And he says, "I am the god of travels after all. I think a few steps saved here and there can help a tired and weary soul." And with that, he nods and turns and walks off. And though he's walking at a very slow pace, it's hard to keep track of how and where he's moving, and then you blink and he's gone.
Religion is so weird.
welcome to my world.
All right then. Suppose we should speak to Eowyn then.
You know?
Yep, we didn't even have to kill one single goal.
Well, we weren't initially planned to do it, so I'm glad we got out scot-free on that.
I mean, you had thunder coming down if needed.
I know I did, but I'm glad we didn't, because if we did, it would have been pretty rough. Not a good situation for any of us. But anyway,
At least you did 6 damage to Matt Mercer.
I did 6 damage to Matt Mercer.
What a great story to tell.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Me-
It's that murder.
Yeah.
That murder.
Yep.
And then he shot me in the leg for 11. And also somehow shot out my sword. What an accurate man. Also fanned a hammer on a deagle. Don't know how you do that, but you know what? He did it.
Maybe I don't know guns, okay?
It's alright. I
Now,
mean,
if it was a revolver, I'd understand, but not
Yeah.
a deagle.
maybe it's like a magic deagle / revolver, so like has the magazine capacity of a deagle, but has the firing capacity and same firing like.
Yeah,
mechanics
it
as
does have a firing
revolver.
pin. It's custom. It's custom.
Yeah, it's custom made deagle that looks like
It's
a
a
revolver.
it's a desert seagull.
desert seagull.
Sure. Oh my god.
There's actually a skin from a Kree where he's in a beach outfit and he's got a flare gun that's written on the side says Desert Seagull.
That's pretty good. I like that. I haven't seen that. It's a pretty sexy outfit too. He's got.
And when he does his
tan.
ultimate, instead of having a tumbleweed come across,
Tide.
yeah, he says it's high tide, and instead of a tumbleweed, it's a beach ball bouncing across in front of him.
Boy, howdy, I love the summer skin so much, except for Furious. I mean, I do love the abs, but like the outfit looks kind of dumb. Okay.
Okay.
Shall we continue our venture?
Yep. You
Shall
make your
we
way into
continue
town.
the adventure, please?
I play lute. I play lute to Raxi singing. Let's go, gamers.
This is the moving along song. This is the moving along song.
This is the changing the subject song. This is the changing the subject.
Yep, exactly.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
you guys are killing me and my roommate.
Oh boy.
What's up, roommate?
What's up?
Hey.
All right.
Are you playing D&D by yourself? No, I'm with the boys.
I'm with my boy.
Anywho,
Howdy.
you all make your way back into town, and I assume you head into the outpost there.
No, I leg.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My leg.
Let's leg into this outpost.
All right. Yeah, you are limping.
Yeah, I know. Ah. I'm
Medivh's
Peter
like,
Griffin.
"Can I help you with that?" And she,
I'll be there late.
Can Proto build me like a cast, like a reinforced cast?
Medivh's like, "Do you want me to heal that for you?" You're like, "Nah, I got it. Manly."
I take one step, I fall over like Peter Griffin. I'm just like, ah. Like-
Technically, there is something called a prosthetic limb, and you can even get an enhancement to make it a process.
it was shot, not cut off. It was shot, not cut off. I'm not
We-
getting a limb.
You are not going Trigun on me.
I don't need this. If I lost both my
Anyways.
legs, that'd be okay. Okay.
Medivh heals your knee, and then you
Oh.
walk inside.
Sick. How much do I get healed? Like entirely
All.
or all? All of it.
Can we please move on with the scene?
Yes,
we can.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Aoden is actually sitting down and he's like eating food, and then he like looks up as you walk in. He says, "Wow, that was much faster than I." And then he sees Medivh and he stands up.
Oh, you even said the name, so that's nice. Is that there's some people that are here before us. So,
And they don't say anything. They just sort of stare at each
What?
other.
Oh, the
I
demon.
shall. Yeah, they're looking at each other. I'm going to back away a little bit, about like 2 steps back to give it a little.
As they awkwardly stare at each other, the rest of the party awkwardly steps back, making it even more awkward.
Oh well, I don't know. Okay.
What did you expect? Her to run into her arms like, "Daddy!"
No, it's just like words to be spoken. I thought they wanted to communicate. After all, we brought it. Okay.
Aoden
Ah.
raises up a fist and coughs and says, It's good to see you again. I wish it was under better circumstances." And she nods and says, "So I hear you need my help." And he says, "Yes, we've had some recent events that require your help." She bites her lip and nods. "All right, where are they?" And I think Merrick at this point comes up and takes her by the arm a little bit forcefully and escorts her outside.
Oi! What the?
And Aoden waves your comment away dismissively. He'll take care of her. It's don't worry about him. He's gruff, but he's a good man.
You didn't only bring her here just for this task, did you?
Make an insight check.
Ooh, nice. 17.
He starts to sweat, but clears his throat and says, "Our situation is rather dire, and you know, we're out of our depth here. We're doing some powers outside of our normal and he's sort of looking about towards the girl who was doing papers, and she sort of steps over and she holds out her hand. "So how'd it go with the gnolls?" she asks.
We entered with no casualties. No gnolls were killed on this endeavor.
Aoden smiles and laughs a little bit and says, "Well, looks like you didn't make that much money on this adventure, but looks like you've got some things." And he glances over at pretty much the exact outfit that the rest of everyone else in here is wearing, with the breastplate and the sword that you got.
Figured I would arm myself just in case. But via the fact that we did not receive any coin, I do ask a favor. Ask for doing this. If you could, just speak with her. She is a person after all, and I'm sure if you showed that you cared, I don't know what she's been doing, how she's been, if she's been all right.
He crosses his arms and leans back against the table as you say, "I got something to ask of you." And when you finish this statement, he looks curiously at you and says, "I didn't realize you were interested in our family matters."
Family is important to me, and to see a family member in such a situation, I just want to see them come out all right.
Make a deception check.
$17.
He stares at you for a long moment, but says nothing. And you can tell he's got the message. But you're pretty sure that you didn't need to tell it again. He knows what he has to do.
All right.
Even before you telling him.
Okay. Well, if there's anything else that you need us to do while we're still here, we'll be open. For now, we will...
We can always go back and earn some more coin.
Yeah, as the girl is passing by, she says, "We always have that null trouble." And without her around to keep them calm, we might have visitors.
I'll keep that in mind. Suppose I'll walk out and see how Medivh is doing, because I would like to see how she is faring in this.
Immediately as you walk out of the outpost, you don't see her.
Ah, that's questionable. Maybe she's at the tower? Where there are bellies.
Or Abaddon.
Or Abaddon. That's a good point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no tower anymore.
Well, I
There's
thought...
a giant skeleton building.
Well,
Yep.
I'm sorry, because Merrick pulled her out, so I'd imagine he would probably be taking her to, like, do a job or something like that. That's what I thought.
He went and locked her up in the tower, and now
I thought he brought her... Okay, well, sorry for assuming. Let's go to Abaddon and check it out.
Abaddon's gone. I'm just kidding. As you walk around to the outskirts of town, you do see that Medivh is looking over Abaddon, and you see Merrick standing there with his arms crossed, but he seems to be in a not necessarily a relaxed pose, but probably in the least what?
A most relaxed pose for Merrick to be in, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay.
He's been very uptight and secure, almost always standing at attention or showing off in front of the other men, but in front of Medivh, in front of Abaddon, he's just standing there. And you can see that for the most part, people have sort of packed up from all the barbecue and hanging out and whatnot. People are still sort of dealing with the carcass of the snake, although it looks much different now that it's just like sagged and collapsed over without all the bones in it.
That's not us.
Yeah, you see Kirsten and Daniel both working, cutting apart skins and the snake skin and processing it and doing stuff with it. There's also some other townspeople cutting up and dishing out meat into portions and spots for storage.
I mean, the entire snake's basically skin and meat on the ground right now because they removed the skeleton.
Yep.
How is Abaddon doing? He's doing okay?
He's still lying there. He still looks pretty rough for wear, but you can see that Medivh is running her hands across him, and with a small twinkling, it seems that his bandages are looking a bit healthier, whatnot. She seems to be doing stuff.
I'll walk over to Abaddon and Medivh, and I'll crouch down. I don't know if like Abaddon's laying down yet, or I would imagine.
Yeah, he's still laying down.
He's still laying down. I'll crouch down and just kind of like hold a hand out to Abaddon and be like, "You all right?"
As you walk over, you actually hear Merrick talking in a softer voice, and he's like, it's been a while since you've been here. Things have changed a lot since you were last here. And then as he hears voices coming, he's like, yes, we've been making many preparations for things. And but yeah, you walk over and step down in front of Abaddon's face. You get on your knees, or what are you doing? You're bending over?
I'm basically like kind of... I'd imagine that his head would be like on the ground, so I'm basically kind of getting to head height as best I can.
Standing is head height.
Standing is head height?
Yes, he's massive.
I will remain standing.
Okay.
And just kind of...
Well, I mean, his head is touching the ground, but for your eyes to be eye level, you're standing. So.
All right. I'm holding my hand out and asking if he's all right.
He bites your hand off. No. I'm
All right.
just-
So about that prosthetic hand.
Now you want that prosthetic hand.
All right.
He
Mage
just
hand,
sort
the
of
new hand.
looks at you, his eyes sort of fidgeting a little bit, and his mouth clicks a little bit. Now that you're not an animal, you can't speak to him, so.
Of course. I was just hoping for like a gesture or something. All right.
Medivh turns to you and says, "He's doing fine. He's much better now. Seems that you two had a bit of an adventure recently."
I was turned into a cat. I have. Our party is an odd.
Mufu
Magical
slowly
use.
reaches into her bag.
You put that back. You keep yourself under control. You got that?
I pull out my cat one too.
Hey!
Oh, that's right. Raxley took it.
Raxy, don't try it. We know the rules.
I never agreed to any rules.
That's true. Only Mufu did.
You better not do that right now.
Oh my gosh, that's the most evil you've ever laughed, and it's over a cat wand.
He's gonna turn me into a cat. Not again. Not again. Okay. I'm going to. What am I doing? Oh, right. I'm gonna look over at Abaddon. Abaddon, tell him. The chieftain of the Knolls hopes for your safe recovery. I did promise I would say that.
He sort of nods, and Medivh says, "Yeah, I already told him, but thanks anyways." She winks at you.
I figured I'd keep my word. I don't know how spy-ridden the chieftain is, so rather not break my word.
Oh, it'll be all right.
Hope so. How are you faring in this endeavor?
It's gonna be a while, but it's gonna take some work. But I think he'll be fine in no time. And she reaches up and pats him.
I meant more for your sake, not Abaddon's.
She looks at you, and her calm and friendly demeanor melts away. She actually glances over at Merrick, who steps forward and says, "I think it'd be best to leave the lady to work." And
All right, then. I have no issue. Again, I hope you're doing fine.
just poking my nose into family matters.
Well, I just want to make sure she's all right. Like,
Goddamn.
goddamn, sorry, I care. Sorry for caring. I stopped caring all of a sudden. I'm sorry. All right. Well, if you need me, good luck finding me. I'm a little tough one to find. And Medivh, if you ever get the chance, a cup of tea would not be too horrible, I hope.
She tilts her head and her face grimaces. She's not sure how to respond to you coming on to her.
I'm just saying. Cup of tea. All up to you. I'll be off.
Damn.
Goddamn. I'll be off.
She says, "Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I do love Tion's tea. Thank you for reminding me. I'll make sure to ask her for some later."
Very good call.
How's my longhouse looking?
Yeah, you guys want to head over there?
Let's take a look in the mirror. Whoa.
As you make your way through the fields, which is pretty matted down due to a large horde of zombies moving stuff through them, as well as the rain. But you see what seems to be the skeleton of the snake, sort of scrunched together like an accordion and sort of fitted to be a massive like Viking longhouse with the skeleton's maw open as the entrance to this structure.
Ooh. That looks kind of scary. Do we do something about it?
Do 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 do.
Thinking out loud with all my thoughts, and I probably shouldn't be saying a lot, but I'm over here. I'm thinking here we're going somewhere that I don't want to be. Anyway.
This is my uncomfortable song. I'm
He's
very
a lord.
uncomfortable right now.
Never mind. That's
I'm uncomfortable.
So, Jin, I think it's about time you pursued the darker arts.
Oh god, am I being contorted to the dark side of the force? Oh no!
Yes, join us.
Ah, great! I told myself I
I can
wouldn't.
teach you many dark arts.
Raxi's whispering in one ear, and then Mufu's on the other side, like, "We have cookies."
She already supported this church.
Yep.
The dark side is abilities are some to consider unnatural.
Proto's just like, "That's cool."
I'm just a late healer.
Yeah.
Braxty, are you telling me that you broke the minds of 2 children to convert them to a dark cult?
I didn't need to convert them. They insisted.
Because they're children, they don't know what's wrong. What are you doing?
I promised them puppies and candy. I mean,
Of course you
they're
promised!
children.
Of course they're going to accept that! What do you mean? You got... Oh my gosh.
What children? I only offered Mufu what we've been talking about.
You offered them exactly what children would take, and that's why they took it.
Carl,
That kills people.
did you open
I
up a
don't
dimension
kill
door that
people,
releases
I
baby
make them
hands?
happy.
Tell me it was getting the rumblies that only hands could satisfy.
Carl, why are only white baby hands coming out of this portal?
All right, Roxy, can you convince?
Whitey's got to pay, and that payment is
Whitey-
baby hands.
Oh my god.
Roxy, can you please convince me on why you are building a church and why it's okay for you to be building this church?
I'm bringing my religion to this land.
I can see
As
that.
my high priestess has asked.
Can you please clarify what your religion is again?
I am here.
Gorsaif
to
steps
still
forward.
open-
I can show you.
I don't.
And his
wanna-
eyes burn brightly.
Oh, here we go.
My religion is here to help the dead travel to their afterlife. The way that it happens is a little unique.
We're just here to expedite the process.
I'm not even.
You are batshit crazy. Okay. Well, I hope the people of Kolhi don't mind you building a cult church. I would imagine.
I saved them.
Yeah, by raising dead. And then
Yes,
using that.
but if I had destroyed the undead horde, they would be dead already.
This is a bit. You have a point. But, oh my gosh.
You actually see
I can't-
Xanathor sort of standing over there admiring it, and Gorsaif walks over, and Xanathor's like, "It's a bit drab, don't you think? A little bit too much here and there." And Gorsaif's like, "I actually do love the bone aesthetic, though, don't you think?"
Are we talking about the aesthetic of a bone church?
It's a bit old-fashioned, don't you think?
Viking loghouse just with a little extra bone. Jeez.
Okay.
It's very cool looking.
All right. I have made my decision as my own person with my own rights, And that is, I am not going to support your church, but I'm not going to do anything about it. So I hope you have fun with doing that. And when we leave, I hope it goes really well.
Suddenly, Gorsaif's whispering in your ear, "Good choice."
Your dragon pet scares me every single day of my life. He haunts my
What
nightmares.
pet?
He's not your pet?
He's my teacher.
Huh?
Let
I
me
need
put
to
it to
take
you this way, Jin, Gorsaif says.
Right.
Is Mufu your friend, or are you her pet?
I suppose I can't answer that question. Fair enough.
Touche, bone boy. Touche.
Touche. Anyway, so what is... Wait, so what is the job here? Like, when we build this church, what are we gonna do with it?
Kill people.
Gather worshippers, find and get ourselves started. I plan Gorsai. We need to bring power to Gorsai.
Can you just take old men that pass away through old age? Like, why do you gotta kill people?
I never said I was killing people.
I don't know, but Gorsai said he was killing people.
He only kills those who wish to pass on.
And I'm very persuasive.
Ah,
Mm.
I see. Oh, love you so. Well,
Avada Kedavra. What
Yeah,
a wonderful curse. Avada Kedavra. It doesn't get any worse. It means killing muggles for the rest of your days.
sing it, Gorsai. It's not probably.
And you all sing and dance into the sunset.
And then there you go.
Oh God.
Jin can't
All right.
resist a good song and starts playing.
You got a good point. Okay, you convinced me. All right,
You've convinced me with song.
You convinced me with song. I will allow this church mentally only for a little bit. Okay, I won't allow it. All right, this is like bad, but I won't do anything about it. But if you guys hold worship groups, I will be there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you do have that bone flute that controls people's minds.
Oh, right, the bone flute.
I don't remember that. What bone flute?
Remember that old skeleton guy that I turned into a skeleton and kind of did a little jig with? Remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gave me a bone flute, and I think it controls minds from further look into this. I don't know how to properly play it still, but why not a Church of Death to practice that, you know?
I never said this was a church of death. This is a church of the passage of life.
It's the
Memento
church of
mori.
after death. Because everyone knows that the after party is the best party.
That is a pretty good party.
I can literally send you the information on the entire thing of the church if you really needed an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Because
I
this is personally named by me.
Yep. It's good
Okay.
stuff.
I'm fond of reading books, so
Raxley hands you a pamphlet.
this is a lot. Is that like? This is well drawn. What's what? Did you have like?
I completely forgot we were looking for food.
Mufu jumps up and down. I helped.
There's a lot of canes.
Mufu, I don't want you to be proud of that.
It's because Jack in the Box.
Okay. Well, by the looks of things, it looks like things are somewhat going well here in Colheen.
Greg
our-
burps up the skeleton of the small goblin creature that you saw earlier today.
I'm gonna ignore that. Just gonna go with my day.
Gorsaifs catches it.
Of course he does. Alright. Well,
Well, it's because the child is always eating frogs, so I figured why not let the frog eat him.
good point. Objectively, I don't see much more to delve in here for.
It's not like that's gonna come back to haunt you.
No, of course not. I suppose we stay here until this church is built. Is this what's happening?
It's built.
It's built.
The structure is
Oh.
built.
Well, let's walk inside. How is it looking?
Make a wisdom saving throw.
Of course. I'm scared now.
You
Oh, natural
should
20.
be.
I'm okay.
Are you sure?
After that, yeah, I made a natural 20. After my song with Gorsythe, I'm just dandy.
Yep.
I'm living a happy life.
There,
What would have happened?
there's a piano which it's just made of bones.
There's a
Here
bone
you go,
piano?
Jen. Here's your perfect place now that you can use that you can go play your songs at.
Yep.
Piano! Bone piano! I love it.
It sounds like something between an organ and a xylophone.
Let's see if I
So you can play spooky, scary skeletons on it.
Xylophone. Yeah, that's probably it. We're figuring out. Hold on.
Hold on, I gotta order food.
There we go.
Oh, there it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you had failed, you would have instantly merged with the walls and become part of the structure.
Oh. Oh.
Ooh.
I would have had to make a whole new fucking character if I had failed that.
That's a joke.
Hey.
But I mean, you
Thank
literally
all day.
are walking into the mouth of this thing, so
Oh, I see.
getting in isn't the hard part. Getting back out is.
Guess I live here now. Hey, look at that. Look at me go.
Yeah, you turn around and nobody's there. You're all alone.
So scary. Anyway.
Can
I
you
don't
play
know
the
how-
Wii theme?
There it is. Fuck. This is hard. Okay.
Okay, that's good enough.
We're getting there. Well,
Yep.
I could sit there and figure it out, but like we're gonna take too much time.
hmm
Okay. Well,
There's actually a long table made of bones, and there's several chandeliers made of bones, and
no, very bone interior.
just like every single time I describe something, made of bones.
It's made of bones.
There's 2 armed guards made of bones.
All right.
Wait, what?
All right. Wait, hold on. Okay.
And actually, as you make your way in, I think like the lava slime jumps up and like lights all the lights the like the lights the sconces on the walls and
Oh.
the
What's
chandeliers.
going on now? I'm missing stuff from inside that church. I was ordering food.
I was playing your bone piano.
And we're setting mood lighting.
Yeah.
Oh God. Dark and gloomy, right?
Yep.
I like
There we
that.
go. Yeah, that's bone. I like that.
Yeah. Living the dream in Boneville.
And as you enter, there's a figure wearing a cloak that says, "Good evening, gentlemen."
Hold on, what?
No, I'm just kidding. That's later.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have anyone there yet. The only person that's gonna be doing that is Goresight.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what else we can do this session that isn't like super duper important. I mean, do we guys want to call it for today, or
Doing good, how about you?
we want to go for a couple more hours? Because I could do something.
I will
Yeah, we
have
could
a
do
session
something.
here. Well, I will have a session here in like the next 30 minutes because I'm playing with my sister at 4:30.
Alright, I guess we should go ahead and call it then, if we want to.
But first, wait, hold on. I can remember how to. Oh. There we go. Happy Bone Boys.
Bumping Bone Boys.
How wonderful will that be for everyone to come back and then I'm just playing a bone piano in the Church of Drexy.
Absolutely.
It's the Church of Goresight.
Church of Forsyth, pardon me. I forgot he's the deity here. Alright. Raxney, I've been falling in love with your bone piano, so I will okay with this if we allow a section for Greg, because I feel like he needs one of those. With how magical that frog is, not gonna lie.
If we kill more people, we can make the bone piano even bigger.
Bone organ!
Not to mention the giant golems I already have.
Yep, he's got 2 giant golems.
2 giant golems in here?
Yep.
What are you doing in your pastime? Where did you get these?
I needed security.
You got security now?
He just repurposed some of the leftover building materials lying around, you know.
Hold on, I found an organ segment for your piano.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's sick! Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Batman.
Hell yeah, Batman. Oh my god, what the fuck? How do I know what it looks like? Oh god, I was expecting like a big bone boy or something, but that's a big bone boy, if you know what I mean. He's got a big old... What's with his spine? His spine's so big.
Yep. He's made of multiple skeletons, that's why.
That's big. That's a big man. Well, at least it's not a flesh golem. I've seen those. Those are
Damn, son, that's a big ass boy.
That's a big ass boy. Damn.
It's a bone boy.
It's a bone boy.
Alright.